Authentic sports, entertainment, something for the old, something for the new, something for everybody in between. We leave nothing untouched. We are Spoon 107.5 FM.
Yes, sir. A special one from the CEOs, then coming with the spoon. And your boy, right in the South. On the
to get your information. So the spoon to get my spoon, spoon, spoon direction. Spoon, spoon, spoon. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Morovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you ain't know. If the children cry for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, my brother, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat my prejudice, my brother to spoon. You got a spoon TV, you got a spoon radio to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You want to get a news update, to spoon. Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, 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 kilibamba. What I want? Yes, I yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Spoon Spoon entertainment.
A special one from the CEOs, then coming with the spoon. And your boy, right in the South. On the
spoon to get your information. So the spoon to get my action. Spoon, spoon, spoon direction. Spoon, spoon, spoon. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Morovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just to spoon you ain't know. If the children cry for starvation, just to spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, to spoon. You want to know what is happening, my brother, to spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just to spoon. You want to know what's happening in the ministry, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. You from Funjama, Maryland to spoon. Yeah, to spoon. If you eat my prejudice, my brother to spoon.
FM. We're also live on Fabric 101.1 and a host of other stations relaying us all across Liberia. Today is Sunday, the 7th day of July, 2025. A lot of things happening in the country, but I want to kickstart this show by saying welcome to you, wherever it is you're listening to us from, and those of you watching us, wherever it is you're watching us from, I'd love to say a warm welcome to you as well. Now, you have to be careful with your WhatsApp account. You have to be careful with your WhatsApp account because scammers have got a new way of hacking your account. When you see a strange call, a number that is unsafe in your phone, I beg you, do not answer unless you think you know that number. All right. Okay, today is the 6th. Thank you. Unless you think you know that number, that is the only time you should answer. But I'm begging you, do not answer any strange call on WhatsApp. They are no longer using those phishing messages and links. They're using calls now. Once you answer that call, they will have access to your account. I know a very good friend of mine, a very highly esteemed journalist here in Liberia. His account was hacked using that method. So if you do not know the number, please do not answer. Also, to protect your WhatsApp account, enable password. Put password on your account. Go to setting in the WhatsApp setting. Go to setting. You go to account. You go to password, and you put in a password. You go to two-factor authentication. You put it on as well. Make sure you secure your account. What they did with that man's account was they started asking for money. They did the same to Madam Jimama Wolokoli's account, and they asked me for money. So I said, man, Jimama, will be asking me for money, that I need a favor from you. And when they did it to my colleague's account yesterday, they said, oh, hello. Yeah, my brother, I need a favor from you. I'm like, what's the favor? So I need 25,000 LD to pay somebody hospital bill and all that kind of stuff. And then it got fishy because this fellow and I, we've never had money conversation between us before. Then I got to know that that account had been hacked. So please, I'm telling you, when you say, oh, we share the information on you, sharing it with you now. Whether you're in the US, whether you're in Liberia, wherever you are, be careful with your WhatsApp account now. They're using calls to hack your account. As I said, if you know the number and you think you have not saved it in your phone and you know that number, it's your decision to answer. But they're calling now on known numbers, strange numbers, and once you answer, they have access to your account. They kick you out and they start using your account to send fraudulent messages and defraud people. So if you want to protect your account, put password on your account, and it's simple to put a password on your WhatsApp account. You go to settings, you go to account, you'll see password, you put a password, you either use your Face ID, you go to email, you put an email address, you go to two-factor authentication, you put two-factor authentication, it'll give you a passcode, and you keep it. That way, it's difficult for them to hack your account. So that is the information to share with you as we begin the show. Well, the rest of the panelists definitely going to join on, led by the former CEO of the Spoon Network. So I talked about him. What's up, Chief? How you doing?
Yeah. I'm here. What's going on?
I'm okay. So last time I said they did the same thing to him, but he was smart. The man and
what did they do to him?
The man hacking accounts down through calls on WhatsApp.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
But why they gonna hack my account?
Your account out now. You cook it all kinds of way.
I had this person send me a request, right? And it said J Marvin called. They used this number to say, "Oh, I'm very, very jammed. Can you send me $600? Stanton, he said, CEO, we'll be able to just give you this money tomorrow morning." It was a Representative Cole. Representative Cole asking me for $600. Are you kidding me? You got majority Black members saying that you can get $600 from there easily. You got most ability. Why would he send me a text message or ask me for $600? So then I said, Then I asked Kev, I said, Kev, you know that Core is asking for $600. Kev said, no. The person sent me the message too, Stanton, don't do it. So I said, okay, let me just go for the ride. So I said, who you want me to send a message to? Let me just go ahead and read what it said here. So I was going for the ride, and I told Kev, I said, Kev, you know what, let's just go for the ride. I said, who you want me to send a message to? He said, send a message to Kou Mobile. That's the name, right? Let's send a message to Kou Mobile, 088-738-3749. That's the number they send me. That's the mobile money number I'm gonna send a message to. So I said, to this number, they say yes. Then I said, well, who's this? They said, well, that's your brother. Now, let me read the whole message, right? I urgently need you to please send me 25,000 LRD or $600 US to someone, but it is not going through. And I was hoping I could ask for your assistance. Listen, I will do everything in my power to repay you. And of course, I will ensure that you are repaid by tomorrow morning. Now, it's 2:30 p.m. my time. So their time will be 6:30 p.m. in Liberia. You don't have the money right now, but at tomorrow morning you get the money. So I said, but hey man, let it put on, that one, I feel for myself, most people don't know that I grew up in Nukrita. Seriously, most people don't know that I'm Glen also. So then Kev said, don't send it. I said, Kev, let's go for the ride. The next person they did it to recently was the former vice president, Joe Howard Taylor. Do you know that? Yeah, they have a phone.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the former vice president, Joe Howard Taylor. She had to send a message after she, fixes something. She had to send a message again. Why would Joe Howard Taylor ask me for money?
The first time we got it was Angie Mama. They hacked her account recently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then she sent me a message. Oh, I need a favor from you. So I'm like, Angie Mama want a favor. Probably she wants coverage or something. No problem. Once a friend of the network, always a friend of the network. So I said, what's the favor? And then the president said, oh, I need money to send to somebody, and I'm going through. And so said to me, I said, they won't buy. It made no sense.
But listen to that, right? They got a bunch of stupid people, to tell you the truth. If that's the only speed, then you got to change your speed, change your location. Everybody knows very well that's your speed. Everybody know that that's your speed. But then people say, they did it to my friend Terrence DeWard, all right? His brother. I woke up one morning, his brother asked me to send money. So I said, but that guy is a big businessman. The man never asked me for nothing. The man said, can't even say hi to me. Hi, and in the whole world, the man said, let me go try Stanton. I called my man Terry. I said, Terry, man, your brother asked me for money. Terry said, no, not my brother, not my brother. So how are they getting people's phone? That's the question.
So they used different methods. There is one called phishing, where they will send you a link, to say, oh, watch this, watch that. And once you click on that link, you give them access to your account. That's one way. And now the second method that they're using now, because people are getting wise to the whole link business, they're using calls now. They call you, and once you answer the call, they do have an access to your account. They kick you out of your account if you do not have your account secured with either two-factor verification or with a password or a passcode or anything of that sort.
Okay.
To your account.
I beg you, please tell them to send me that call. Let it fish in. Let it fish on my number. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you, yeah.
Let me tell you the joke now. So after I left the show last night, this speech number just calling me back to back. So I'm like, you call, you get tired. The next thing the president sent me, they send me close, African close. So you making fun.
I mean, you gotta just understand. I don't know. Maybe those people are working with those cell phone companies. They're doing it though. Who do you think doing this? Which group you think people should really be concerned about?
It is everybody's business now, including the regulators and the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications and everybody else. It's good that we're having now a discussion around the Cybercrime Act of Liberia. There was a public hearing at the Senate on Thursday, and very soon we'll have cybercrimes, laws here in Liberia. But until then, we should regulator like everybody should start.
But wait. You see, when Victor is on a group, you can even laugh. We'll be having cybercrime. The legislature that said don't even have internet. That cybercrime law. Come on, man.
It's about ordinary librarians like myself.
Yeah, I agree. It's an ordinary. Remember, I beg you, man. Let's leave the other conversation, man. Your lower legislature, they are jokers. They are all jokers, right? They are not doing anything to even help themselves, and even the money that they will get, they're not helping yourself. You always bring me mad when you reference the lawmakers. Which one of the lawmakers are better? Come on. Let us come on before we bring my Edith on, because she tried to go there too. The poor Nimba said she didn't go over there. So before we bring her on, she looked at me in the back. Yeah, man. Jeremiah Cruz said we want female. We are female lawmaker. Then you tell him, say, now you are talking about the other female there. That one I didn't with your vice president, Jeremiah Cruz. Well, can somebody give me that clip of Jeremiah Cruz say he want female lawmaker? But he wasn't talking about Edith, though. You were talking about other female lawmaker, not Edith. Oh, my people, you're welcome to the show, man. We're going to have a layback today. Today is my son's birthday. My son turned 14 today. Stanton Jr. I'm sorry, I cannot post, if they turn 21, they can post their own photo. But again, today is Stanton Jr. birthday. And the man is going to have a blast, man. I don't know where he's going, but I'm ready. Maybe they're going to eat. I'm going to go alone. I want to send a shout out to Charles Russell. Today, he visited the church today. Charlie Russell visited the church today, man. He's a decent guy. He always follow us. He always faithful follow us. Oh. And again, we will remember the Honorable, may his soul rest in peace, Prince White Johnson. Today, is the birthday of the late Prince White Johnson. We want to remember him. It's good to have some people from Nimba represented. Nathan Bai will be on. Edith Gungler, where she's coming on. Madam Gungler, where will be here as well. Today, imagine by this time, Prince Johnson called me in, talking about his birthday. That's fun. Because he and my son have the same birthday. And we always go through laughing and joking. May his soul rest in peace to the Honorable Prince Edith Johnson. We want to say, wherever you're joining us from, wherever you are, we're happy to have you. It's a beautiful sunny day here in wherever I am in the United States. We're so happy to have you. I heard that it was raining like calendar yesterday at your end, Damo.
Oh yeah, it rained really heavily and it lasted for such a long time.
I mean, but you left the studio, you didn't even tell me, and I kept on calling you, my man.
What, like that?
Yeah. You left. I just called you. Jurassic said, but the man left. I said, but why the man will leave without even informing me? But I had the people in Liberia now that you can get up and go China, and go for 10, 15 days. Now, I had the people that, who am I? I decreased my heart and your heart is elevated. Who am I?
I'm going to tell the people the fastest delivery in history that happened in Liberia. I should tell them what happened.
I don't know what you're talking about, but in crew, they said Thor bring Thor. So you don't know what the Thor do there, I'll bring my home.
I only ask.
No, but go ask Samuel. Ask Samuel. Samuel say you're going to have press conference, you call my name, the whole Pandora box open. So go ask Samuel. And the man stay begging. The man stay going around begging. He said, I thought stand on my friend. Yes, I am a friend of Samuel. Come on, I Samuel friend. But you cannot never ever take pocket knife to a gunfight. You will leave sir. Never. To a political gunfight, don't take pocket knife. They will castrate you, Samuel. But at the end of the day, we want to say so. No. The man of my man, the man a double girl, the man of my man. Every day I come back, I gotta call the man in, I'm a man. But listen, we're gonna have a beautiful show. We got a lot of stuff. You heard today.
They used to sit in front or way behind.
Huh?
Where in class you used to sit in front or behind?
You asked a good question. During my high school, I used to sit in the middle. Because people that know me, right? I wasn't a talker that much. I was very quiet. When I started going to college, I used to sit to the front because I used to disturb a lot. Yeah. Oh, man. From the owner, the proprietor, whoever in that school would know me. Because my argument can finish. But these things is it happens. This small politics I put myself in that way say wasa. And I got to step back down. That's why I want you and the other people to be doing this show. I want to step back. I want to sit down and just enjoy you guys interviewing lawmakers and politicians. I seriously do. Imagine since 2018, 2019 to now, I want to relax down. Stanton going to be 14 years old. The two girls, they just growing up and doing the thing. And, Aaliyah got her master's degree, government got her bachelor. She's back completing her program. Aaliyah going back again. Sam is in Europe. He's doing his thing. And, Dama doing her thing in Liberia. So it's just time for me to just relax down and spend time with my dad. But how can I if you go to China every day and you refuse to come back home? Look at James. We just tried James Small. We sent James to Poland. James refused to come back. I mean, you guys look at Darius. Darius coming on now. You say the people that having something like diet club in the area, and he got to go there. So who can we leave this thing to? Who?
So you can't just leave it like that. As I always tell people off and on, you've been a great mentor. We learn from you in so many ways, form and manner. So it will be a privilege to share the platform with you and ease into it slowly. But you bring a different dimension, a different vibe to the program. Yeah, and that is going to take. That is not going to be replaced. That's a fact. Even when you
I think Dama, you get your different style, and people admire you though. You're a great dude. Seriously, you get your different style. You just come to do your stuff. I understand that, but yet still, what I seriously mean, the program today. And my email will soon come here. You guys ask me for my email in 2 minutes or so. She'll be on. The program that we do today in Liberia, it's not like the Charles Bayonne program, the Kwame Nkrumah program. You remember, you are picking what you have read about them, right? It's not like that program somebody will sit in front of the teleprompter and just read. Then you know what is up there? Man, the men are looking at the paper, you just reading. Not me, a man reading from teleprompter, and we just sit down there and say, oh. The men are looking at the paper, you gotta go like this. But picking on it, always say that the men are looking at the paper, the men just read it. The men memorize that whole thing. But guess what happened? It was then. We are talking about now. You gotta be ahead of the story. You gotta be ahead of the game. But also, you gotta put entertainment into it. You gotta be balanced to some point. You gotta be fair. It's a lot of stuff that comes with this thing for people to believe you. You got to have politicians, if they offer you something, you got to say no. Because the day you want to talk about them, guess what happened? You are free to talk about them. So you're going to refuse the offer. You go to the politician office and want interview, you leave it there, they give $50. And say, oh, my man, pay your way. Soon you take that $50, you're done. You can never, ever attack that politician. I mean, people got to look at this thing. It's about your credibility. It's about you saying no to the person you are interviewing. Except when they pay for the program through the network, that's fine. But once they start giving you $20, they start giving you $50, you are guilty by association. You can never speak evil about that person. You can never tell the truth. You can never, ever hold that person responsible because you know why? Kato in your pocket. And I told you, my picking coming home. Listen, yeah, Baba, so go now. Thank you. Say Baba. Say Baba Dama. Say Baba Dama. Okay, so go now. Go with your mommy, okay? All right, so Dama, let me take it downstairs.
All right, so you will definitely be back. But before he gets back on the program, let's say hi to Sekou Talata Mohammed Sharif, who's following us. Bobby Ben is also watching. Edwin Davis is following us from Tottenberg, Birmingham County. Armeton Tie is watching us from Kolahun District, Lofa County. William S. Moba is watching us from Bopolu City, there in Bapolu County, Liberia. Aya Freeman is also watching. Ruth Goba is following us via YouTube. And Madison Double. That was a fast drop off.
Yeah, it was because I asked them to take it. I got to bring in my Eden, ladies and gentlemen. Let's welcome the princess from Nimba, and let's welcome this wonderful lady. Her name is Edith Ganglowe, the sister of Councillor Ganglo, the great councillor, the people's councillor, the broom leader, the sister of Kirigbetu. Claire Bodemel will get very with me now. Again, we want to say, listen, we've been looking for you all through, but we are so happy today to have you. We're going to start an interview with you. The rest of the guys will join us whenever they can. We say, welcome to the show again. I believe that you are in the United States because I remember your house when I visited you and your husband the last time.
Stanton.
Madam Edith, it's good to have you. It's been a wonderful time seeing you on the campaign trail in Nimba. But we got a big issue to discuss today. So Damo and myself will get going. We'll be joined by the representative of Rhode Island, Representative Nathan Beer. He will be coming on. This issue about ArcelorMittal, and we're hearing that the president have also signed on the HPX deal. He's coming this week to meet President Donald Trump, and all other stuff surrounding good governance, the national issue in the country. Let's talk and let's welcome everybody, folks. Please take your cell phone, go on your computer, share the show, YouTube, on Facebook. This is one-on-one with the CEO on the Spoon Talk. Dama is not going anywhere because at some point Dama will take over. As we said, we're going to transition up smoothly. So we start from today. So Dama will not run away. Welcome to the show, Madam Edith.
Thank you so much, Stanton, for having me. And I'm glad to be on your show. It's been a while. Thank you for the recognition as well. Thank you for what you do for the Liberian people, the Liberian population. There is no perfect human being. There's no perfect show. There are flaws here and there, but the overall good about informing the population and their government about happenings within the country, I think this is a great job that you're doing, and I just want to say hat off to you. Thank you so much for your contribution to our country and to humanity in general, because you just don't talk politics here. You talk human interest. And many times you bring light to situations affecting individuals in Liberia. And because of your platform, people have found relief in the past. And in the future, there will still be people who will benefit from the kind of work you do. So I just want to take this time to say thank you. And to all of your team members, the panelists that will be coming on, if they will at all, and even the listening public. Now, Stanton, you have a very big platform. There are people who are literally addicted to Spoon TV. They have to listen to Spoon every day. It means that you're doing good. I remember back in the days during the wartime when we started reporting for Star Radio, people used to be like, once it's from Star, it got to be true. So when you establish yourself and establish that level of credibility, where people then begin to trust information from your platform, I think it's a great thing. And I pray that you can reach that level if you haven't reached it already.
No, we are humble and we are grateful because of God first and the people of Liberia that have entrusted into this network. So great men and women, came to the network. We want to appreciate the management and everyone, for the continuous and tireless contribution to the network. The Liberian people, man, they are very, very wonderful people, and this is what we do all the time. Madam Edith, because we got to push you, and we got to push you so hard today because we don't know when you will come back. Let's just get into it. You went into Liberia, you were called, you were asked, you jumped into this race. Then we talk about the HPX deal that was signed today. We report that the president signed on the HPX. We talk about ArcelorMittal, one of the biggest in 25 years given to ArcelorMittal. Your country, Nimba County, the people of Grand Bassa, the people of Bon County. We want to ask you whether HPX is treating your county, your country, Liberia, any better. And why? Because of ArcelorMittal, we are where we are today, and we have seen environmental problem. We are seeing every promises, they broke every promises. And whether HPX will be good to your county and to Liberia at large. We got a lot of stuff to talk about going into 2029. Where are you right now? Are you still in opposition or in position? Well, I mean, I'm hearing vice presidential candidate from Nimba, either going nowhere. We're hearing different things from around the block. So we hope we can spend this time to really get into your stories and your future agenda for the Liberian people to have their own say, and those that actually support you, that they can understand. So we gave you the time. It's been a long time since you left the campaign trail. Samuel Koga won. What say you? Let's get into it. Have your intro now.
Well, so thank you so much again for having me on the show once again. Today, the focus is really on the request for the signing of a new agreement. A request from ArcelorMittal as a mining company requesting the Liberian government or the Liberian government wanting to sign a new mining agreement. Whether this is good for Liberia, whether it is good for ArcelorMittal, and what is good for our people, because I come from Nimba, where a good segment of our population is affected by the operations of ArcelorMittal and other mining institutions. So that's what we want to talk about today. The elections are over. It's in the past. It is what it is. We've talked about it, even though not on Spoon TV, but we've talked about it on different platforms. And I think that has been laid to rest. What we want to do now is how we can advocate on behalf of our people, whether elected or not, but how to continue to put forth the issues that impact our people. That's what I want to talk about today.
So again, we're going to talk about it. You know me. We're still going to tap into. You know what? For the sake of our audience, right? Let's brush off the Nimba thing. You consider the Samuel Koga, but you say he was a bad candidate. He would not represent Nimba well. You campaigned tirelessly. Did you receive a full support from opposition into this going election? Can you tell Liberian whether you think that the opposition supported you to your satisfaction, but yet still you didn't win? Did you get the full support?
Look, let me say this. I've always said this, and it is true politically. Politics is local. It's local in that there's local issues that matter, that cause politicians to either get ahead or get behind, where constituents of politicians will, support them or reject them. And so when you look at the locality of politics where we're talking about Nimba issues, even if all of the opposition actors were to line up behind a candidate, I'm just speaking hypothetically, and that candidate was not the choice of the people, it wouldn't make a difference. Having said that, yes, we did get holistic support, not just from political actors, from ordinary citizens, from civil society, from opposition politicians, like you heard and you listened to Honorable Cummings, for instance, right? Political leader of the ANC, when he endorsed me. You listen to former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, That was a very big endorsement, and former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor, Lema Bowie, these strong political individuals endorsed us. You also listen when, in fact, you read when CDC as a political party literally endorsed 3 candidates in Nimba. And we've spoken about that. So we did get, a holistic, all-around endorsement.
Do you think the endorsement, I beg, the endorsement of CDC, the biggest opposition political party today, but it went in with 3 hands. Do you think that crippled you, though? It crippled your chances?
No, I don't think so. Because rightfully so, I'm not a member of the Congress for Democratic Change. I'm not a seditian. There were people in the race who were registered partisans of the opposition CDC. So to be fair to them, I don't think it would have been fair to their members to come out to endorse me as an opposition candidate and an independent candidate. Even though none of CDC partisans who were in the election, none of them ran on the CDC, so to speak. However, they're known to be seditious. Take, for instance, the Honorable Mike Bleon. Mike Bleon was the county, I think, campaign chair, if I'm not mistaken, for CDC. He was in the election, even though he had gone on a different party ticket, but CDC felt some level of obligation to him. And so to be on the safe side, I think that's what it did. Like,
but you think it helped you or it helped destroy you? Madam Edith, the decision of CDC, did it cripple you politically?
No, it did not.
CDC, no?
No, it did not. It did not. I think CDC, made the right decision. Why would you endorse somebody who is not your partisan, even though I supported the CDC second round? That is public information. And so they will have some soft spot for me. Like, yeah, this lady helped.
Well, if they wanted to win, I mean, like every other person, who is the president we are called Mike Bleon through his political leader, Musability, who is the president we are called Garrison Yelu and said, listen, we have to get this. We are running against a giant here. The current vice president is spending millions of dollars in Nimba County. He's riding the truth. Let's go with 1 hand instead of 3 hands. I mean, do you think it was appropriate a decision at the time to go into Nimba Quado, and to say we'll go with 3 hands? I'm feeling with him myself. You just want to let go, though. You don't want to talk about it.
Listen, Stanton. Only a Nimbayan will understand the intricacies of Nimba politics. Sadly, people like yourself, I'm sorry to say, sometimes seem to insinuate that you know what is happening in Nimba. Whether all these people would have said, I'm not running, it was never going to change.
No, I'm saying that, President George. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Nimba is a different.
I agree, but you are saying that President George Mann, we are the former president, cannot win Nimba County.
How can I say that?
Because of what the scenario we lay out. If President George Manawea have that vote in Nimba County, if the former president get a swag in Nimba County, then
let's put it in context. What I was telling you is that the dynamics of politics in Nimba is different. We have, like any other county, the tribal divide. People vote on the basis of what tribe you are. It doesn't matter what politician or what political party line up behind you. Let's say in Belege, for instance, or say in Muyao, District 5, where Koga comes from. It would have been a difficult thing to navigate. So it is not about who line up behind who. That's the point I'm trying to make. It has nothing to do with President Weah.
I got you. So let me bring it down now, because we're going to do this thing. And I'm sorry if I interrupt you, because we got a lot to cover, and I really don't want you to leave without, covering those serious issues. So before we brush off this election that Senator Koga won, Damon, come in with 2 questions if you have.
Thank you, CEO. It's a pleasure having you on the show, Madam Komlo. My first question is, you mentioned the tribal lines in Nimba County. How dangerous a trend you think that is? That Nimba, as you said, is hugely divided and goes on tribal lines.
Sorry, you are very low.
Okay, I'll go again. My question to you is, you mentioned the issue of tribal line being a key factor as to how Nimbayans vote. How dangerous a trend is that to the electoral process of Nimba when it comes to electing leaders?
Well, Nimba just happens to be a case in the moment that we're talking about, but tribal politics all over Africa, all over Liberia, for instance, exist. Take Sano County, where you have the Kru people and the Sapo people. They vote there on the basis of which of these groups you belong to. So when you have a county like Nimba, where you have different tribal groups, of course that will happen. This is something that is akin to all of Africa. It's not unique to Nimba. We just happen to mention that because we're talking about Nimba. So this is not unique to Nimba. It happens in every county where there are multiple tribes.
Okay, so my second question to you is, in terms of what Nimba has missed, you not being there in the legislature, what would you say, Senator, you would have made for Nimba that those you have contested against who won cannot give to Nimbayans that you want them to have in terms of leadership?
I don't want to litigate the past, and I don't want to be talking in abstract. If I have been there, you would have seen the difference. Be that as it may, at this point, we just want to make, progress. Let's look in the future. Leaders only look in the past as a learning curve to see what they can do differently for the future. But good leaders are forward-looking people. I like to look into the future. Let's see what lies ahead for the people of Nimba. Like we try to talk about the issue of ArcelorMittal, the deal, for instance. Let's go into that. Let's talk about what is good for Nimba and what is good for Liberia and what is not good for the country and the county. I think for me, this is a more substantive discussion and a meaningful discussion than going to look at, okay, so you are going to be senator, then what you are going to do. So I'm not senator. So that is water, under the bridge is passed. I want us to begin to forge ahead.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diamond. Do you think that you missed an opportunity not engaging the Nibadians prior to the election, this going election?
I don't understand that. By engaging in bias, what do you mean?
Because nobody had a problem. They said, listen, either don't spend time with us, either we'll leave and come back. And either only come when there's an election, either only come when it's ever now after the election, either gonna leave. When I see either again to 2029, it was all on the street. I mean, I want you to address that, please.
So, Stanton, let's look at that for a moment. Let's assume that those propagandistic talks were anything to go by. From 2011 to now, would I have become so much of a force in Nimba? Just think about it. Put it in context. So because whenever there is election, when there's campaign, people find all kinds of ways to bring those who they see as a force to reckon with. They craft all kinds of strategies, all kinds of propaganda, all kinds of misinformation, so as to dissuade people who are strongly in that person's corner. That's what has happened in Nimba. So 2020, they came up with that stuff because in the past they had talked about, corruption, it didn't stick. Then they talk about, in fact, first they said, the woman took 1.6 million or something like that of our money. It didn't jar. Then they say, oh, this one is not sticking, we got to drop that. Then they say, oh, she wants to divide Nimba, it didn't stick. So then they brought about, oh, the woman can only come election time. And guess what? The voting population, our constituency, have very good answers for them. But like I said, if we contextualize that, that was just propaganda, it's untrue. I lived in Liberia, Stanton, for full disclosure. I even lost my green card status in this country. In 20, I could not come to America. I lived in Liberia from 2009. I ran in the election 2011. It was what it was. Groupie was announced a winner. I stayed in Liberia. I did contracts here and there as a consultant with different, development institutions. I took part in the election 2014. I was in Liberia for the Ebola. I didn't come to America. I lost my green card status. I could not come even if I wanted to. My son had to refile for me. I entered America pretty close to 2017 as a new immigrant. So that story about she can only come election time, I'm telling you, is not true. It's propaganda. But only people who have not lived there, whenever you heard anybody saying she coming, that person is somebody who would never have voted for me in the first place. So they will cling on to that. Whenever you hear somebody say she wants to divide Nimba, that's somebody who would have never voted for me. So they want to cling on to that. Even if people came with the facts, written and oral, to say, look, this woman never did this, they will not believe it. They will still, because it's propaganda. It's not meant to change their story. It's meant to sound convincing so that people who support you will leave you. So that whole thing about she can go to America is propaganda, and it hasn't worked. So I'm sure if I should ever take part in another election, they're going to change the story and bring something else. So let's flip that again for a second, and let's even consider for the
No,
sake of
we just got to rush you. My last question on this, because we got to rest and move forward. Jeremiah Pancon, he need more women in the legislature. Are you not one of those he was talking about?
I heard you in your discussion. I heard you talking about, oh, he said he want women, but Edith just not one of them. So you got it right. He needs women, but he doesn't want strong women, independent thinking, nationalistic women who are patriotic, women who know exactly what it means to build a nation. I'm not sure the honorable vice president wants those kind of women. That's why, according to you, Stanton, he want all the women, but you want a woman like Edith.
You overload me now, though. But you met Jeremiah Cohn, and he was very blunt. He told you, he said, listen, sister, this time around, just carry Sam Koga. The last time we took Young Twain, let's balance this thing out. Give Manu. But you said no. Do you think he was right for the sake of Nimba to walk that path? Guillaume Manu?
Well, I wish it was as simple and nicely put as you put it. But the whole issue about balancing Nimba is a whole different discussion. We are talking about representation here. We're talking about constitutional democracy here. I think in a democratic environment, it's all about competition, and the best and the most accepted takes the day. If it was to be like a quota system, then there will be somewhere in our county or in the constitution where that would be flagged, it would be written. But there's never something like that. People have said, oh yeah, it was a gentleman agreement. Even gentleman agreement is penned to paper. So, but that's not the issue. The issue about, when did the issue about balancing Nimba come about? Historically, in our very recent history, post-war history, 2005, we had Senator Johnson and Senator Adolphus Dolo. If there was any such thing that existed as balancing the senatorial position in Nimba between Guo and Manon people, Then only Manon people who have challenged Senator Dolo. It will not, no Gio person will have been in that race. But guess what? There were, I think, 3 or 4 other Gio candidates. And then Groupie took the day. For 9 years, it was Senator Groupie and Senator Prince Johnson, both from the same track. Nobody talked about balancing. Then 2020, today, our honorable vice president, who is talking about balancing the Senate, aligns more on the Gio side because of his mother being ethnically Gio, and he himself coming from the southeast. But as far as Nimba, he identifies as Gio. If we hold that thought process constant, and if that's something that former Senator and current Vice President Kuhn believed in, I think Vice President Kuhn will have said, because I'm Gio, and now this seat belongs to a Mano person, I will not run. But he did run. And the happenings of that election, the rest of it is history. So when did we come with this balancing? How suddenly you're vice president and you say we got to balance? Oh, at the time you were running for the Senate when there was already a Gio person sitting and you identify as Gio, you didn't see the need for balancing. But I don't believe in that. I believe the best to represent our people should be given a chance by the people themselves if they see fit. It's a can of worm if you open that, because in the future now, then people say, okay, because I've heard talks about, okay, so you say it's time to balance the equation. Now we have had 3 Gio vice presidents. So now, 2029, we got to balance it. Now we need a man of vice president.
Not there. So we're gonna hold it. We're gonna hold it right there.
The vice president. I'm just saying. It's a dangerous narrative to
I'm hearing of a balancing VP position now in Nimba County. I'm gonna end on this because again we gotta just squeeze you with all of our questions. The performance of the vice president nationally. Talk to us. How do you grade this vice president? He's from Nimba. I'm not saying Joseph Waka. I'm saying the vice president. How do you grade the vice president?
Well, usually you grade governments on the basis of the president and not vice president. So that is an uncharted.
Is he performing well for your county? Is he performing well for your county, for Nimba?
How is a vice president expected to perform for a specific county? I don't understand that.
I mean, the county he's from, he can show developments in that county. You know that. Well, is this vice president working?
Vice President Kuhn has been in government for how many years now? 17 years. 12 plus 3 plus 2, about 17 years. So the question should be, what has he done in the 17 years in Nimba? As a 12-year, 2-term representative and 3 years senator, and then 2 years VP. Let's even leave the vice presidential position. What has he done? That's a question to ask the constituents of Nimba to see if they think that
you are one of those.
But for the life of me, I don't like to go into personal stuff with people. If you were to ask me what was his performance as a sitting representative for district number 1, because that's my district, even though I'm from district 9, but that's my district of residency. So if you were to ask me, how did he fare in district number 1 for the 12 years, I would tell you he did not do well. Absolutely, he did not do well in the 12 years of being representative of district number 1. If you were to ask me, what has he done? How did he fare as a senator for Nimba in the 3 years that he was senator? How do we grade? What yardstick do we use to grade our lawmakers? Is the kind of advocacy they carry out to ensure that their constituency or their county get their fair share of the national cake, especially so someone who was sitting on the Ways and Means Committee. When I check with hospitals and schools in Nimba, they tell me, especially District 1, where Vice President Kuhn was vice president, they tell me that the budgetary allocation for the JWPS, for instance, it was little to nothing. They tell me that Ghanta Methodist, which was then the major referral hospital for that district, people come from everywhere to seek treatment from the villages when they're referred from the health centers. They tell me that there was never much money allocated in the budget for Ghanta Hospital. The rehab, which is an extension of the Ghanta Methodist Hospital, where they treat leper patients, people who suffer from Burundi ulcers and stuff like that. Till today, the people have been crying, the workers, to even get on permanent payroll. Most of them have not. So if these are the yardstick that you use to grade your representatives, because they are there to seek the interest of their people in these basic areas of need, health, education, agriculture, stuff like that. So, but as a vice president, he's vice president for the Unity Party and for the Republic of Liberia. So you tell me, you sit on this big platform, Stanton, you get all the information. What do you think as an advocate for Liberia, whose platform has been solely used to ensure that Liberia as a country and Liberians are not shortchanged? What is your perception? What do you think? How do you rate the vice president, for instance, as a national talk show host for Liberia?
Thank you very much, Madam Edith. I want to say again, welcome to the show. We have Madam Edith Gandaway. We started with fire. We're going to end with fire. We've also been joined by the representative.
You didn't answer my question, Stanton.
I'm coming to it. I just have to ask the folks to share the show. We've also been joined by Representative Nathan Beard. We happen to have Nathan, actually. He's like Madam Edith. He's from Nimba also. And again, we'll be talking about ArcelorMittal. Madam Edith, for me to answer your question today, I mean, for me, it would not be an issue. I can answer your question, but we really want us to march towards 2029, and you know who I am. I will get into it because I don't hold my tongue. So, but this thing today is about you. I get every day to be on the show to tell the Liberian people what I think. So let's move now with Diamond, and Diamond, you will take over. You will take over. Gibson Jerry will be coming on, and the others once we have to do the post analysis. I want to say to all of you again, continue sharing the show. We love having you. And we're here to discuss issue about Nimba, about Liberia, and everything. Diamond, you can come in right now and go ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, there's a reason why Diamond taking over, because you know why we have to do this transition. We're going to start today, and I want you afterward, please grade Diamond about his question. And Diamond is not biased, by the way. Diamond can fire, you know him, but we have to give the young people a chance to take over from us. Madam Edith, I'm going to ask you two questions. I'm going to run with Representative Nathan Beard, then Diamond will come in to do the rest of the program. Today is my son's birthday. I will announce we had a plan, Madam Edith, to have the birthday year for the food to come in. They changed it and they said, no, we're going out. So it just jumped into, and if I say no, you will not see me for the rest of the week. You know how you guys behave, Madam Edith. You know how you guys behave. So I have to, first of all, welcome you. But let's talk about ArcelorMittal. We'll come back to the local politics. The president went to Nimba, Madam Edith.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll play the video. Diamond will put the video up. The president said ArcelorMittal is doing exceptionally well. I believe you have seen that video. He said ArcelorMittal is doing exceptionally well. Let me take it from President Barker. Is ArcelorMittal is doing exceptionally well for Nimba County?
I don't think so. I think I spoke on this on one of the local stations, and I said, maybe the president hadn't been fully briefed or properly briefed about ArcelorMittal's operation. But as recent as 2022, I believe it was 2022, where you had the lawmakers take a tour of Yekepa, and at the time, the current vice president was senator, they all condemned what ArcelorMittal was doing in Yekepa. I remember Sir Joseph was also on that trip. If what they said 2022 to now 2025, has there been any significant changes from ArcelorMittal handling of issues in Nimba? I say no, there hasn't been any significant change. First of all, ArcelorMittal has a 25 years contract with the government of Liberia. They've gone 20 years, 7 months, about 7 months, because July makes it 20 years, 7 months. So that means that we have just about 4 years and about 5 months left for the first 25 years contract to be over. Within our 25 years deal, there were lots of things that ArcelorMittal agreed with the government to do. And on this show, a lot of people have also cataloged those things. I'm not going to bore you with going, through the whole 9 yards about employment issues, scholarship, and all that. A lot of speakers, and you yourself have done some research on that. The pavement of roads within the concession area, issue of environmental protection, all those issues have not been dealt with. I just sent you a picture a while ago with water near one of the mining towns in Bonding going to, not Bonding, but Bona. You see that water, they haven't even started using a washing plant. And you see that water, how it looks. You see that alone is a potential danger for marine life in that area. You see the road. I send you pictures of roads. The bridges they did, you saw that it looks like, I don't know whether that's covered or whatever they put there. We are talking about $1 billion company. This is not even a mining company as such. This company is the giant steel company of the world. To do those kinds of shabby jobs, it means that they really don't respect us as a nation and as a people. More than that, recently I was reading a paper where, just to speak to the arrogance of ArcelorMittal, where the HPX and the Environmental Protection Agency staff had gone to do the ESIA, that's the Environmental and Social Impact Assessment. According to what I read in the Daily Observer, they had, prior to their trip, sent a letter to ArcelorMittal, because it's in the MDA, that if you want to come and do any inspection, just send us a letter and let us be aware. They had sent a letter long in advance, more than 3 weeks. Guess what happened? ArcelorMittal denied the people entry. It was not even within their concession area. They denied the government representatives access in our own country. I thought that was a blatant disrespect for the government of Liberia and a blatant disrespect for the people of Liberia. Why should ArcelorMittal do that and get away with it? Especially at the time when you're talking about they want a new agreement signed. If you're not complying with the old agreement, this is just common sense. Who would then be advocating for you? So let's speak to the issue of people are saying, oh, ArcelorMittal, the president said he has done exceptionally well. I think that he was ill-advised, or he was not giving a full briefing of what has obtained in Yekepa. You don't have to be a rocket science or an engineer to know that ArcelorMittal has not done well. When they took over the mining concession in Yekepa, Yekepa was way better than what it looks today after 20 years. When you go to P Market, for instance, it's like a shanty town. And in that agreement, ArcelorMittal was giving full authority over the assets of the former LAMCO, the Liberia, American and Swedish mining or mineral company. They were given full access over those assets to rehabilitate them, to reconstruct, including the roads, including the rail. So as for the rail, yes, they've been maintaining the rail here and there every now and then because it serves their economic purpose. You need the rail to be up to standard so that your iron ore will be transported. But how about the other assets? They talk about reconstruction of the buildings, the structures that were left behind by the LAMCO, the Liberia Mining, American Mining Company. They've not done that. Instead, they bring in prefab containers that can be whisked away anytime and loaded onto, the ship to leave, or even if they leave it there, who can use it? Because you can live in a container in a tropical area like that without air conditioning. So I'm saying that there are many things that ArcelorMittal has not done. At this point, we can say do them. I think the right way to go now, if ArcelorMittal really wants a new agreement or to extend their contract or to enter into a new agreement with Liberia, they need to give us the value of those things that they should have done that they've not done. For instance, the construction of the road from Kanta to Yekepa. What's the cost of that? If it was to be $10 million, say give that $10 million. The scholarship that you were to give to Liberians every year that you've reneged on, what's the value of that? Let's do the calculation, pay the money, so that the government and our people can use that money for the benefit of the people. This is where I think we should begin to look, because as it is, if you didn't do it in 20 years, 20 plus years, you're not going to do it in 3 or 4 years.
Thank you very much, Madam Edith. Folks, is firing. We got Madam Edith here, and I'm seeing most of the old people coming back. And you got politicians following you right now, so I hope you will not make people mad. A lot of people knew you were coming, and a lot of people is adding on, and they continue to share the show. Madam Edith, before I leave you, and I will leave you in the good hands of Diamond, it's not good, I just want to ask you, if President Weah asks you to be VP 2029, would you accept?
I don't do hypothetical, Stanton. I just don't.
Are you one of those? Okay, not hypothetical. What are you thinking? Yes, for the sake of Liberia, I know you just came out of an election. You think that you will actually be in the election 2029?
What I do know is that I will remain a strong advocate for my people, the people of Liberia in general, not just Nimba. We're going to talk issues of Liberia, issues that impact our people on a daily basis. It could be pocketbook issue, it can be environmental issue, it can be health issue, it can be any of those. I'm going to remain, pretty engaged, like I've said, and I continue to do. But what
you don't remain as an independent, or you are from a political party?
I'm unable to say that because I don't have a crystal ball or magic wand that I can just swing and say, okay, by such and such time, this is what I'm going to be. Stanton, for instance, you could be on the ballot in 2029.
Okay, so let's talk about you, Madam. Today we talk about you.
You could become a president.
Today we talk about you, Madam. When you come back, you talk about me.
You may not know that today, but that's a possibility.
I agree with you, but my question to you, though, you are not leaving politics, right?
No, I'm not, because as long as we continue to talk issues that impact our people, that's been political. As long as we continue to flag things that are not going right, that's been political. So yes,
so you are there as an independent, or you're going to be in this as an independent, or you're going to be with a political party?
So I've not decided whether I'm going to be on any ballot, and like I say, I don't do future. I'm not a political party kind of person. I usually am driven by ideologies, and I'm driven by people's character. So it depends, whether I'm going to go with a political institution is going to be determined by the kind of political philosophies and the reality of those philosophies and the messengers behind those philosophies. That's what's going to convince me as to whether I can align with any political institution at this point. But be that as it may, like I said, I don't know the future. What I do know is that I intend to remain engaged for the rights and needs of our people, the people of Liberia in general, and the people of Nimba in particular.
Thank you. Thank you. Damo, take over. We appreciate all of you. Thank you very much for coming, Madam Edith, to represent the Nathan Bill. Again, Madam Edith, you are the guest. So allow us to chip in and bring in your brother. And, you know, I know you guys from Nimba together, and Damo will do a perfect job. Ladies and gentlemen, continue sharing the show, continue following. We got a lot to discuss today. We appreciate you. Madam Edith, you're always welcome. Brother Nathan, thank you for joining us. Damo, it's all yours. You have muted, Damo.
Okay, thank you, sir. Representative Bia, it's a pleasure having you on. And so I'll pass the ball to you to do your intro, and then you can go ahead and ask Madam Bongo any questions that you may have.
Oh, thank you, Dama. And first of all, I would like to say to all my Liberians, friends and families, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, what part of the world you are today. We say thank you and thank you for joining the show. But Dama, before I even get to what on my mind is like, I'll probably like to ask you. Oh, Dama left already? I'd like to ask you, Dama, how was your experience in China in regards of the trip that you went on? I would like to know about that, but you and I will discuss about that on another day, right? But in regards to this, my focus right now to discuss about where, and sis, how you doing?
Good, Nathan. Good to see you. Also, your panelist now.
No, I just came today.
You started today?
No, I heard you were coming on today, so I said I will come out with that. So when you come in, I will come on with you.
So that you come and ask me all the questions?
No, the Dama in charge.
Okay.
So, but I just said, how you doing? How's everyone?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. How about you?
It's good. It's good. It's good to see you. Yeah. So, what some of my Dama, my quick intro is about where ArcelorMittal, right? I wrote a piece. It was in the Daily Observer and also where all the social media in regards to. I mean, my position is very clear on this, right? I think that their contract should not be renewed until things that were agreed upon, they go back and fix those things. You still have a few more years to go back and fix those things that they want to fix them. The education aspect that Edith Gonglo was talking about, the education aspect in the MBA that they signed, it was $200,000 annually for scholarship for education. If you add those stuff for right now, it's about 3.5 million. That's ArcelorMittal, just the education aspect of that they haven't done for the people of Nimba. Look, jobs. We have people being inputted into our country, into our county, for jobs that Nimbadians and Liberians can serve, but they're not doing that. For me, it's a direct thing. I say that their contract should not be renewed until their contract that was signed, until they fulfill that contract before we proceed. I mean, at some point in time, we should put Liberia first. At some point in time, we should put Nimba, Bon, and Grand Bassa County, those three counties. And I'm speaking to the caucus of those three counties. We should stand firm together to let ArcelorMittal know that Liberia is first. Liberians are first. If we don't do that, look, businesses, people come in our country, their interest is their business. How much money they're going to gain from our country, right? They don't care about Liberia. But if we as Liberian, if we as leaders, if we don't stare and put Liberia first, this is where we are. But at some point in time, we should start to make your firm statement. And my statement is ArcelorMittal should not be renewed until everything that was agreed upon, they go back and fix those things, then we can proceed and we can have a discussion. The rules that Edith were talking about. You go to Yekepa right now. Yekepa is like a town that's frozen, right? You can probably stay, like they say, you can probably doing the Civil War. And ArcelorMittal still there. Hot clinics. Only thing Stanton left. I share a picture. One of the employee at ArcelorMittal had an accident. And ArcelorMittal is refusing to take this young man to the hospital. If this was an Indian employee or South African employee that is working at ArcelorMittal, within less than 24 hours, that employee would be flown out of the country. At some point in time, we got to put our people first. And for me, I am putting Liberia first. I'm putting Liberia first.
We have legislators, and to you, Madam Gongluwe, as well. We have legislators, and one of their core responsibilities is oversight. So how then can you suggest that we strengthen our oversight and our revision of these concession companies in our country? Because when you have representatives, you have senators who could, question these companies, who could pay on-site visits as well, who could strengthen government's position. And we are still here talking about 20 years and 7 months, and we have a contract at MDA that you have bulk of those terms having been done. What does it say to our monetary evaluation and our oversight here in Liberia?
No, I mean, Diamond, you're 100% right about that. I think it's not just within the legislature, but Liberia as a country, one of our weakest link is monitoring, evaluation, and supervision. We don't do that well as a country. From sector to sector, we renege on that very important responsibility as a government. We don't do that. So they bear a bigger portion of the blame as well. Because if ArcelorMittal, all these things, if we had a very strong monitoring arm to be monitoring their compliance with the agreement in the first 5 years, ArcelorMittal will have buckled up and done what it ought to have done according to the MDA side. But when they saw the laissez-faire attitude, then they exploited, because business people will always do that. But even giving that as a fact, as an international company that works in other countries, I think they should have, if they don't, they should have a core value that govern them. And one of that value should be making sure that countries that they work in, communities that they work in, agreements that they sign onto, whether that government is not paying attention or not, they have the responsibility to do their portion of the work. But they have not. They're falling short. So we are saying now, okay, yes, you're right. Government dropped the ball. They didn't check on ArcelorMittal. They didn't monitor the way they should have. Maybe they monitor, but they didn't up to the level where they will hold ArcelorMittal accountable for not complying with the agreement as they should have. At this stage, we are saying because they didn't do it, and because the government or the monitoring group didn't do it, it doesn't give them a passage that, okay, so your government didn't check on us, so we didn't do it, and so therefore we need a new agreement. It's always said it's better late than never. So you lay back because you didn't have a strong monitoring team to hold you accountable, so you lay back. Now you want a new 25 years. It has now caught up with you. We are saying now that until certain things are done, no new agreement should be signed. And I think the Nimba Legislative Caucus and other caucuses, maybe Basel and Bong, I haven't followed up on them. But what I'm hearing from the Nimba Caucus is that there seems to be some unanimity on the call for no new agreement until ArcelorMittal does right. And what that doing right could mean, like I suggested, it's too late to say, oh, you got to build a road. Within 3 years, they will do a real, shabby job. You got to build houses, maybe the 100 houses, you got to refurbish. It might be too late. How about the government get a team along with our caucuses that evaluate the value of the work that ArcelorMittal should have done within the 25 years that they've not done. The portion they've done, you cost that and subtract that and say, okay, this is money that you owe because you should have done this, you didn't do it, give the money. We are going to do it as a country because it was part of the agreement for you to do. Again, this is my suggestion. As far as signing a new or entering into a new agreement, I don't want to holistically say that there should be no new agreement. We are saying that they should provide a reasonable cost of what they renege or what they refuse to do, so that we'll do ourselves. After they do that, we can go into a new agreement with them, but this time with an open mind. This time we're going to be asking not for equity, but maybe for royalty. So because ArcelorMittal is a company that sells the iron ore to itself, so they can decide what price they're buying it from themselves and tell us, okay, this the taxes we pay and this the equity. Okay, we didn't make any money, now zero, so maybe like, bro, you're supposed to get 30%, but we can't give you nothing.
What you are saying is, instead of the country retaining a share in ArcelorMittal, we should rather go for royalties. Is that what you're saying? Because if they're selling the iron ore to themselves and they're reporting a loss, you cannot get, returns on your investment or on your shares.
Precisely.
If they're selling it to themselves, they determine the price, as you said.
I mean, in my layman knowledge, I'm not an expert on this. Let me say this. I'm just using common sense. In my common sense knowledge, since they've been reporting loss and then they're in the agreement, they are agreed to carry forward loss. So if you reported a loss this year, you're supposed to carry that loss up to next year. When you subtract your loss, whatever is left becomes the dividend. So then next year again, you report another loss. Liberia gets nothing because you can say every year you're losing, and so we can get nothing. But we say, okay, we just want our royalty. We don't care how much you sell it, how much money you make. But say you're carrying 10 million ton. That 10 million ton, this is what you're supposed to give us in royalty. We get it, and you go sell. Whether you lose like your business. Again, this is a layman sense, right? Layman idea. It's not from an expert knowledge, but giving the experience over the years where they reported loss, and Liberia gets nothing. I think we can change this time around. If we're getting, we say 40 or 50% royalty, we get that. And you give it to upfront. Whether you lose that one that you and your company business.
Representative Bia, where are you on this as well? I know you also stand similar position as Madam Gonglo, where that ArcelorMittal should pay up on promises that it didn't fulfill, and then that is a precondition to get a new MDA. When it comes to the issue of royalties and equity, where do you stand as well? Should we be looking at getting royalties instead of maintaining a share in the company? Should we sell our shares to them and say, look, pay us for what 30% is, and then we start taking royalties from you every month, every year, as per what you ship out of our country?
I'm good, thank you. My position is clear on this. My position with the Nimba County Caucus, when I spoke with Senator Yan Twine, our positions are clear, right? It's at a point in time now in our country and in our county, we stand there for our people. That's one. I said ArcelorMittal can go back. Look, there's 3 more years, right? 3 or 4 more years. They can start showing good faith in business. They know exactly what good faith means when it comes to be in business. They are business people. ArcelorMittal is an international company. They are business people. They're not here to have sympathy on Liberians. So, and we as a nation, we shouldn't have sympathy on ArcelorMittal either. We demand what we want. So if you're going to give us whether or not your profit, you get a 1.4 billion. If we're going to have a share, look, being a negotiator, you have to be a great negotiator when you're dealing with these people, Damo, right? So So at some point in time, we should sit on the table again and say, like, this is what we need. We want, look, the thing is, I need both for them. I need both. Give up upfront and also the share within the company. And it's up to you. Do you want to stay in my country or you want to leave? I said, it's not the only country, it's not the only company out there that are willing to come to Liberia. At some point in time, we have to put Liberia first. We know how many iron ore that has been exported out of Liberia daily? Do we know that? So whatever ArcelorMittal is telling us, that's the value that we accepted. We don't know how many natural resources they're exporting out of our country. ArcelorMittal is not the only one. B Mountain, China Union. I mean, I can lace that. Every one of them. At some point in time, even you're talking about 25 years, why am I going to go sign a contract for 25 years? That should not happen anymore. It should not happen anymore. At some point in time, our natural resources can develop our nation, can build our healthcare system, can build our education system in our country, and pay our people, right? At some point in time, we have to take a stand for our country. And he, Representative Bia Nathan telling you this, ArcelorMittal, you do not renew that until they go back what they said they were going to do, and we start looking at that in good faith. Let them make an attempt to start to do this thing, and we create and monitor them before we proceed.
Okay, so Madam Onglewe will definitely join us. We have Darius too, as well. My next question to you, then Darius can jump in, is as a country, Representative Bia, you are state representative, and we follow other countries' political system. If Congress or a committee of Congress invites you, it's a serious thing. But here in Liberia, we see when invitations are sent out to companies or other multinational firms or agencies or even government institutions as well, they're not taking heavily, they're not taking with respect. People give excuses and all of that. But you just listed a number of companies that are operating in our country, and we see the same scenario in all of these concession areas. Who's failing us, and why are we failing on such a colossal level that we sign MDAs, we sign agreements, and we get nothing, and our people languish in abject poverty, those that are affected the most? Who's failing us?
I'm not here to shift blame on anyone, but I'm just going to tell you exactly how those things are structured, right? As a nation, our executive is leading us. And we know that we also have, like, we have our legislators who have oversight. At some point in time, the executive got to rise to that occasion to lead. Right? The executive need to rise to the occasion to lead. If China Union, B Mountain, Metal Steel, and every one of them, damn, you just said it. I have been monitoring these concessions, right? These people in Liberia. And look at Firestone, right? I will include Firestone in that also. What have they given us, Liberia? Now that's when leadership comes in, governance, right? You look at this, you bring those people back on the table. These are our agreements that were signed. And if you don't comply with this, we can ask you, look, a nation, you can ask those individuals to leave your country. And watch this, right? There are other companies that are out there that are willing to come in and do the job of these people. These companies, they are not the only international companies that are out there that are willing to come to Liberia. There are other companies that are willing to come. But until we put Liberia first agenda, right? Then businesses would take us seriously. But if look, Diamond, let me break this down. I'm a businessman. I walk into Liberia and we sign a concession. And I know that this is what I should have done within the first 6 months. I haven't done it. And nobody come into to ask me why you haven't done this. If you don't do this, the matrix, there should be a checkpoint, right? There should be a checkpoint, all of those stuff, and nobody coming to ask me. So I'm a businessman. I'm exploiting, right? I'm taking my natural resources. I'm making money, and I'm proceeding. I'm not there to support your country. That's mine. I'm a business person. So if you, as the leader of that nation, don't put your country first, the business people not putting your country first. That's the true aspect of this. So this is why a leader have to lead, and every one of our legislatures and our executive should come together and come with one voice and say, "This is what we need for our people." As once you be firm with those with these people that are doing business in our country, they will take us seriously. The question now lies is, does B Mountain, China Union, even the Firestone, Melody, are they taking us seriously? Are they taking Liberia seriously? Are they taking Liberians seriously? Because jobs that should be given to Liberians are given to foreigners. Foreigners have been inputted into our country every day to give them jobs that Liberian could be doing. And look at our unemployment rate, Diamond, right? And those people making billions of dollars. Another aspect of it is we don't know how many natural resources those people that are exploiting out of our country daily. Who is there to monitor those aspects of those things? Look, at some point in time, look, we are 175 years old. At some point in time, we need to go back, look back, and say this is things we've been doing for a long time. It hasn't worked. We need to change, and changing that is put Liberia first agenda. And that some people will say it's selfish, but yes, selfish for the impact of the people to have good healthcare system, good education system, good road system infrastructure, right? And that is when a nation becomes a nation to stand by itself. If a leader stands and be firm.
Thank you. Madam Gonglowe, it's good to have you back. Now, the next question is, there's this mindset we have in our country that we talk and talk and talk and talk, and at the end of the day, we don't see anything. When people go behind closed doors, they strike deals that benefits them as individuals. How can the affected communities, those who are in the epicenter of what is unfolding, those who experience the environmental degradation and the rest of what pollution there is, those who are supposed to get the schools and they're not getting, how can they be involved in this process, and how do we make their voices heard, especially from a stakeholder like yourself? How do we get the communities involved?
Thank you so much, Diamond. That's what I've said, and we've said this over and over and again. It is a mistake when the actual people who are impacted by the activities of these mining companies are excluded from these discussions. So we have asked those in leadership to say, look, do not ignore, for instance, the involvement of our young folks, because it is their future that they are messing with. Do not exclude the involvement of the women, their leaders, because they bear the brunt of some of the environmental degradation. I sent you the picture of the water, the river in the area where the mining takes place. Some of the women, they get engaged into agriculture activities and fishing and all that, the fishing with their net. Marine life is being destroyed. This is the basic source of the people protein intake. Is being destroyed daily by these operations. So these people's voices must be at the table. We have said stakeholders should be engaged if there should be any future agreement discussion around the table. These people should be engaged. They should not be left out. But there's always this tendency to say, oh, well, those people don't mean anything. That is why you hear a lot of times young people are protesting, the blocking the roadway, because when you look around and you have absolutely no outlet, it leads to violent actions. So some of these actions are a call for attention and recognition. They're simply saying, look, we are here. It is our lives that are being impacted. It is our health that these people are playing with. We want to be a part of this discussion. We want to be factored in. We want to benefit now. But then a lot of times leaders don't see this call as a call. They clamp down on them. The classic case of, I think it was 2014 or 2015, where the people of Zuluwe were arrested for only asking for what rightfully belongs to them. Some of these people learned they cannot make farm there anymore because of the mining activities. So they were supposed to pay for their crops and stuff that they had on the land. And some other things happened. When they felt that they were not being heard, they protested. They were all rounded up. I understand somebody even died either in jail or immediately after being released. You know, it should not be. You shouldn't wait for protests before you even intervene. Let the stakeholders, those who are directly impacted, let them be part of any future discussion because they know exactly what they are going through. I'll tell you what, Diamond, the other day I went to, that was about 2.5 weeks ago, I took a tour of Yame and I slept in a mining town called Bona. There you stand and you see the work that is being done up the mount. I saw like a trail from up the mountain coming down, and they said, oh, that was 1 or 2 times where the explosion took place, and then the heavy rocks from up the mountain, it came rolling down and busted someone's farm kitchen. If people had been there that time, nobody would have lived. So every day these people live with the risk of these mining activities. And you know, there's this saying that where the risk is higher, the benefits are commensurate with the risk. They should be just as high as the risk. But this is why I excluded. I've heard plethora of stories from young people that have even tried to enter the vocational training school in Yekepa. They've been denied for years. So you will not find that many young people from Yame who are opting to go to the school. And they've made it difficult for them. In fact, there should be a request or a demand or like a policy set aside that people from this particular mining area, they shouldn't even have to take tests. Let them come, they just fill in their name and see, we try them. If you're trainable, we train you, right? Because they bear the brunt of your mining activities. So they should be able to benefit at the highest. But these people don't benefit anything. And then we sit and say, well, you know, they're doing well. It beats my imagination for anyone to think that ArcelorMittal is doing well when you see the photos that I sent you. Why would $1 billion company build the kind of bridge that I sent to Stanton, where they just lay rocks? You see, that's supposed to be a bridge. That's the so-called covered right there. Does that thing look like it can last for even 2 years or 3 years? It will disintegrate with the heavy rain. In no time, the road will be back to square one. This has been how ArcelorMittal has done for the past 20 years. Look at the road. When I took these pictures, it hadn't even rained much. That was like 2.5 weeks ago. The rain was not even as much as it is now. By August, nobody will be able to pass over there. This road leads to the towns and villages that have ArcelorMittal operation right up Mangangra, the Yidiwleton, and all that they're mining. The people's buildings are cracked because when they blast them out, the ground shakes. And these daybreak house crack all in between. What is there for them? So it is a hard thing. We are saying that, of course, we don't expect that ArcelorMittal will go building concrete houses for people, but provide them the access to income generation for themselves. So that when you leave tomorrow, these people have the ability to continue to live and live life worthy of living. That's all we ask. And to Nathan's point about ArcelorMittal not being the only company, that's true. Right now, iron ore price is up on the world market, at least from the last time when I checked. What we heard is that iron ore price was up. For some reason, this is a good year for all the extractive industries. Gold price is up, iron ore price is up, rubber price is up, even cocoa price is up. So prices are up. Now you this is like the rush to the Wild Wild West. A lot of companies are coming now looking for exploration license to mine iron ore. So ArcelorMittal is not the only company, as you said. However, since they've been in the country, we are saying if you do what you ought to do, then we can now sit at the table and put squarely what the demands of the country will be. And
Okay.
I was suggesting royalty route rather than, the equity route, which Liberia has been robbed time and time again because every time ArcelorMittal reports loss.
Okay. Darius, it's a pleasure having you on. You just joined the conversation. We have as our guest Madam Edith Konglowe, as well as Representative Nathan Bia as well. You can come in with your two questions and then we can move on with the conversation.
Yes, so good evening to Madam Ida Gonglowe and then Representative Nathan Bia. It's good to have you on the set today. I mean, speaking for the people of Nimba and the people of Liberia, I think it is patriotic because the country is bleeding. The country is losing. The minerals are extracted. The dividends are not coming. But looking at ArcelorMittal operation in Nimba, and if one goes to Yekipa now, you cannot measure the impact of the investment over the period. Seeing the photos and the videos coming from the operational areas of ArcelorMittal, for one to say ArcelorMittal is doing well and praise them in the midst of all of the bad labor practices, the way the construction is robbing the local communities in terms of benefits, how do you look at the fact that ArcelorMittal for 20 years has failed to declare profits? All they say is that they are losing, and then if you match that to the mineral they have extracted, the millions they have generated, how do you reconcile that? Do you see that to be a technique, a tactics of the investor to deprive the local community and the government of all of the benefits intended for the people? And then B to that, how do you look at the 1.4 million of a billion, the 1.4 billion plant, when the local community there are not getting anything in return? How do you see that?
Was that a question for me or for Nathan?
Yeah, both. And I know that you can comment first.
Sure, if you can answer that question. We also have on the line, Madam Webb, before you answer, we have Representative Muhammad Briggs Mensa of Pond County. You can just take off for a minute or two, and then we can continue the conversation. Yeah, she's a representative. We talked about oversight. There's other remedy like going to court. Why haven't we taken this company as well to court if we do want our due benefit as well? Pleasant night to you, Representative Briggs. How are you, ma'am?
Hi, sister eating. And these are some of the things we keep praying to God for the women to increase in the house. Because there is so much to be done for Liberia. And as I say, the growth for Liberia lies in our children as women. So let me tell you, I listened to Madam speaking. This is just what I've been talking. The first thing they concentrated the ArcelorMittal bill, the people were celebrating it. After 20 years plus, it was said that it was going to do it in 2 years' time in the NBA. You can't tell me you spend 1.4 million. And we still stand there and tell you thank you. We should be telling you that we're looking for a friends of company to embrace what you say you have done for us. People are suffering by the day. I went to the reason they have across Yekipa. I shared tears the last time. We reached to the intersection and we were turning, and someone told me that's Yekipa on the other end. I was broken down and I stayed with her. I told her the last time we have to be elected legislators that make sure that confession will not pass until they calculate for the past 20 years what was agreed upon in the previous MPA. And that is done, we can start the discussion to go forward. But she and I, my big sister and myself, we talk off air. But I'm right, I'm following the show. And I thank God that someone is thinking the direction I've been thinking. Thank you, Spoon, again. Thanks for what you do. We look forward again. And more things that we strengthen our job, and we are available at any time. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Briggs.
Representative Briggs. Mama, how are you, my sister? I'm so glad to hear you tonight. And thank you so much. I heard all the good stuff. We weren't able to meet before I traveled, but I'll soon be back. I should be back in a matter of maybe a month or two. So when I get back, we'll talk. But before then, we need to talk. So I'm going to give you a call maybe tomorrow. Okay?
I will call you on your WhatsApp, please.
Oh, okay, Mama. Yes, we need to talk. Yeah.
All right. So, Madam and Representative Bia, we also have Gibson Jeru on the show, and we'll take it from there. But when you hear a student representative, I'm saying she shed tears, and then it raises the question as to how do we get information in our country? How prudent are our representatives, our legislators, and even the executive in making sure that Liberians get what is due them? You don't necessarily have to hail from Nimba County to raise an issue of ArcelorMittal not living up to its MDA. Once you are an elected official, an elected representative, you can bring that issue to the floor. You can make sure it becomes an issue of national debate. You can invite these companies and we can hear and know what is happening. But it's been 20 years and now everybody's saying, oh, now we're having this come to Jesus moment when you have people who have suffered for those years and the country in its entirety that has suffered from all of this.
Okay.
Go ahead,
I just wanted to say to what you just mentioned. When a company is good, they're good. I was in Nimba at the time BHP Billiton was there. BHP Billiton faced the same situation like ArcelorMittal. Like I said, monitoring and evaluation has always been the weakest link of our government. But BHP Billiton made sure they held their workers to account and they lived by what their agreement said they were going to do. They used to monitor and evaluate even air quality. They had the instrument placed all over. They had one at the superintendent compound where periodically they came to see and take the data from there to measure the air quality in Nimba as a result of the operation that they were carrying on. BHP Billiton will ensure that their cars are not washed in running water because it pollutes the water. BHP Billiton had a strict adherence rule for the mileage their drivers will run in these communities. This is what you call a responsible company with integrity, because having integrity is doing what is right even when people are not watching. So what we are saying here is ArcelorMittal, kind of renege and refuse to do everything they had to do because the government was not monitoring. When a company is good, it is good. And BHP Billiton was that good. But they had to leave because of, the kind of system. They couldn't operate in a system. They felt that they couldn't do any backdoor deals. And so they left. Having said that, coming back to the issue of our people living the way they live and looking at it from the lens of Nimba, I've always said, look, it's about the nation. if you look at issues in Liberia on the basis of county, you will miss the mark. I remember 2000, I believe it was 2018 or 2019, one of those years, or before then, I went to Senator Kanga Lawrence's office. I went to a couple of representatives. When I heard about the Burkinabes being in Grand Jide and being in River Sense, I'm not from River Sense, I'm not from Grand Jide, but it's a territorial issue for Liberia. So I took it upon myself as a Liberian to go to these senators and representatives and say, look, this is the information we are getting. And even the illicit mining and the unchecked mining activities in River Sense and other places, I will go to these representatives and senators' office and say, this is what I got. Y'all please check up on this. I remember even going to the representative office of one of the districts in Nimba, District 8, when I heard that some foreigners were digging. One time I was just crossing the river to one town called Gona, and then I saw this huge round gaping hole at the bank of the river. And I asked the guy who was crossing me in a ferry that, what is that hole? And he said, oh, some white people came here, they say they're mining sand at the river bank. I said, what sand you coming mine way in the forest here with that kind of hole? I went straight to one of our representatives. I said, this is what I saw. And he actually opened up to me. He said, not just that. You even have Ghanaians, they come with their raft or whatever on the river, and they just go along the river and they're mining diamond. They're dredging our rivers. It broke my heart, as though Liberia is a no man land. That anybody can come. It's just a land that is free. Anybody has the right to come from anywhere and just start to mine. Our security needs to do better. I think our land is still vulnerable. Government needs to tighten its screws. They need to take the security of the nation serious. Today we are talking about ArcelorMittal, but I want us to increase this discussion to every other area that has to do with mining and exploitation of resources of this land, and people are doing it unchecked. I don't know about now, but that was then, and I remember really being bothered by that. So it brings me to that issue of, look, what is happening in Nimba, in district number 3, especially the Yamen Seyengwa, should not be treated as a Nimba issue. The arrogance of ArcelorMittal is a national disrespect. They wouldn't say, oh, the people of Nimba, they sat there with you. They would say Liberians. It's an image issue. So if we must protect our image, then we must treat this country as a whole, not as segment, a subset of a whole. If you look at it like, well, let's see what the Nimba lawmakers will do. I'm happy that Honorable Briggs was on here tonight, and I hope that other representatives and senators will join ranks with the Nimba caucus, the Bon County caucus, the Grand Basso caucus. We want to see people from Lofa coming to say, no, this is not right. We want to see the entire legislature of Liberia standing up for this country for once. Let people fear us labor too, and say you can't just go to Liberia and take advantage. Look at the story with Burkinabes coming and planting cocoa in the bushes in Grand Jide and other places. It is a scary scenario. It doesn't happen in any country. Where is our sovereign rights? We need to protect the sovereignty of this country. It's not just by singing the national anthem. It is making sure that our borders are tightened and the integrity of our nation is protected from intruders. That's what is at stake right now. And bad and rogue companies will take advantage of our weakness and exploit to the last what we have. And tomorrow, we're just going to have a Liberia of holes and of empty forest and a dangerous place for the future generation. So we who have Today, we have the life, we have the mouth, we have the mind, and the idea. We must join ranks and speak for Liberia with one voice. It's not about Nimba.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Madam West. Yeah, Representative Biak, go ahead, sir, so that we can bring on Mr. Gibson Jerome.
I know, with Jerome. But let me just tag on exactly what Madam Gonglo White just said. And I think everyone knows my position on this matter, so I'm not going to go back there. A nation so rich, yet still poor. That's us, Liberia. At this point in our nation history, ArcelorMittal, the B Mountain, China Union, all of the mining companies in Liberia, or any other company that in Liberia that are doing business. Governance is our problem. We should be firm and put Liberia first. Countries that have put their citizens first, we know exactly what have happened. Look at Rwanda. Look at Burkina Faso. People that have put their nation first and their people first, there is a path of enlightenment in the future for the citizens of the country. It's about time for us, our leaders, and I can say this 100% because I spoke with the Nimba County Caucus. I was with the Nimba County Caucus where we were all together few weeks ago. And the Nimba County Caucus, this is why Senator Yan Toyin put out that statement a few weeks ago. And I agree with Senator Toyin that we're 100%. And this is why I released a press statement that was in our Daily Observer. And I'm going to continue to do that until we put our people first. Our people are struggling. Our people are suffering in their own country, in their own nation that gave them birth. How your own nation that birthed you and you're suffering shouldn't be that way. It's about time that our leaders wake up and stand for Liberian in Liberia. So let us put people want to play politics about that. I'm not here to play politics about those issues. I'm here because you don't play politics of the lives of people, kids that are not going to school. Healthcare, you're sick, there's nowhere to go. But when the officials are sick, they fly and leave out and go to Ghana for medical care. But the common people that are there, they don't have the access to do that. Until we stand firm for our people in Liberia, all of these mining companies, and I'm going to say this again, when they come to Liberia to exploit our natural resources. And Derek, when you say everything, you say, I come to second that with you. They come to exploit our natural resources. We should be the owner of our land and tell them, say, no, this is what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. And if you don't want it, you can leave. Somebody's coming into your own house. Let me break this down. Somebody's coming into your own house and want to tell you exactly what you should do in your own house. No, our house is Liberia. We're going to tell you exactly how you're going to do business in our country. We don't even know the books of these people, the China Union, the ArcelorMittal, all of them. We don't know the books of those people. How many natural resources they're exploiting out of our country? We don't know. They can fabricate numbers and give to us. This is our country. We should take our country seriously. And I'm saying this to the leaders that are listening. Let us put Liberia first. Let us put Liberia first and Liberia first. Everything else, look at our national budget, 880 million. Look at our national budget, 880 million plus. If you put China Union, B Mountain, ArcelorMittal, and the natural resources that they are exploiting out of our country, what is 880 million? Let us put this into perspective, my people.
Thank you.
Look, you have to love your country to stand for your people.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Mr. Jerry,
so my last question would be.
That just hold on a minute. Let's
Hello.
bring on Mr. Jerry, and then you have your chance to go around again. Mr. Jerry, welcome to the conversation. Madam Gomlo is back. I'm sure she will rejoin us. But we've got Representative Nathan Bia on the conversation with us. Darius Do is also here, and we started off by talking about her political sojourn in Nimba County. We transitioned to the ArcelorMittal MDA renegotiation that is ongoing. I'm getting information that's making me to even become I'm scared by the minute. That a lawmaker is telling me that they wrote ArcelorMittal to come to a hearing for this renegotiation, and the company failed to show up. Your national legislature is writing a company, and that company is 3 different occasions and do not show up. Where are they getting the boldness from? Who's protecting them? We know they're a multinational company, but to be so disrespectful and nothing comes from out of it, it shows that someone somewhere or a group somewhere is making them brave to do such a thing. And
first of all, let me say hi to my dear sister, Madam Ware. Good to see you again. Good to hear from you, Brother Bia and Brother Do. Thank you very much. Again, I'm not going to go back to her political role in Nimba County. It's not going to end, I believe, because Nimba County needs some great people to be there, and I will always support that process. But let me talk about the current issues that we are talking about, ArcelorMittal. One of the things I always consider when companies like that are becoming monster over the years, because of their contact with government officials and how many people are talking to them, what they are saying to these company owners. The ArcelorMittal now have become a monster in Liberia. Ordinary person cannot just touch, even one lawmaker will not be able to say something and they listen to you because of the kind of conversation they keep with other people from the president office, people from the pro temp office, people from the speaker office. Oh, man, no matter, man. I mean, one small thing that why you do that thing, did that, man. All kinds of, they put other people down in the ears of these company owners. As a result, the company become monsters. So one of the things I've always worried about is the developmental, the MDA, the Mineral Developmental Agreement that is between the government and ArcelorMittal. I wish that the government will give copy to some of the journalists sometime, so that we'll read continuously and see some of the things that are lacking. Because I don't even know which journalist has that agreement in Liberia. They keep it secret. In those days, some all were able to get hold of it, and we saw the loophole. We wrote about it, and ArcelorMittal contract went into renegotiation during the early administration. And that MDA was given to me by one representative. It was his copy. He said, "Mama, I need you to look at the thing here. This thing is looking too right to me. Give it to me." We wrote on that thing for months. And Ambrose Mann, to his credit, every day they appear in my people, he always lifted up and called me and we discussed it. That agreement went into renegotiation. Today, we don't even know what is in the Mittal Steel MDA. But here are some of the things we need to be considered. The way Mittal Steel is going, I think they are becoming untouchable. And that is the problem for a lawmaker from the county who has oversight responsibility for who speak on behalf of his people and invite the officials of Mittal Steel, and then they cannot come 2 times, 3 times. It tells me that something is wrong somewhere. Mittal Steel officials now put themselves above certain individuals. So they don't think they are answerable to anybody. As much as they have been doing some good things, we think there are more for ArcelorMittal to do. I think there's a lot more Then my sister here talked about some of the issues, and Brother Bia talked about some of the issues. I'm concerned. I want to know what ArcelorMittal is doing right now. What is the environmental impact study? She talked about another company that was there, that was monitoring, inspecting air pollution. What is the environmental impact study management of ArcelorMittal? What are they doing about it? Are they doing anything that is damaging the ecosystem, the water system, the marine life? We don't even know. So those are concerns, and ArcelorMittal now is a monster. If you want to talk about ArcelorMittal now, you got to be contending with the government, because the government see it as a singular most contributor of revenue to the bread basket of, I mean, the how do you call it, development basket, whatever it is, of the government. So touching ArcelorMittal now, you got to be careful, especially the government officials. For me, I think the government should do something, should go more after the things that ArcelorMittal is doing, monitor them, and see how they can get them to conform to the promises that they've made. If they cannot conform to the promises they have made, they should be held to account for it. So I like to go that route, and I like to listen to Edith more, because I mean she been in and out there. She been looking at the issue. People have been complaining to her. People come from the ground. They talk about what happened to her. She hear from people in Nimba more than any of us on this platform today, because she listens to people, and she will be able to articulate the concerns of the people, and we all here will be able to support the people of Nimba. This is not Nimba issue alone, my brother. This has to do with Liberia. It's not Nimba, Bon, or Bassa. Actually, that cut across the 3 counties. But whatever they do, it affects Liberia. You know. So I like to pause on this for a little bit.
Okay, Darius, you had a question before. Okay, Darius, you had a question prior
yes,
to bringing up just one question quickly.
So that we can just to buttress Jeru, the local communities, the affected communities have protested. They have complained, and they are complaining. The workers have protested. They have complained, and they are complaining. The stakeholders of Nimba have complained, they have spoken, and they are complaining. The people's representatives, the Nimba Legislative Caucus, have come up with a position, a demand in line with the agreement of ArcelorMittal. The areas the company have failed to live up to its promises. The Senate have invited ArcelorMittal on 2-3 occasions. They have failed. But trust me, if a managing director was invited and he did not come, the next day you see the headline: contempt charges, contempt, legislative contempt. But ArcelorMittal, 2-3 occasions, have not been able to appear before the Senate, the legislature. It will surprise you, the day before the President Bwaka could go to Nimba to commission or to dedicate the 1.4 billion concentrated plant of ArcelorMittal. A lot of videos, a lot of things we came here on the show and discuss. But surprisingly, or unfortunately, the President went there and praised. He showered praises on ArcelorMittal to be the best. I mean, the best was the understatement, according to him. My question is, if the president of the country, ArcelorMittal, have disrespected the community, abused the workers, they have failed to respect the legislature, and the president have showered praises on them to be the best ever. How do we break through all of this with the demands, looking at the demands at hand, and then looking at the leaders?
Okay, so to you, Madam Gonglo, were representing the Bia, Gibson, Jeru, and Darius. I have this question. Now we have all been able to diagnose what the problem is. Non-adherence is just the problem. People are not following up on terms and conditions that are embedded in contracts, MDAs, and the rest. And we have the government institutions responsible for those points to be implemented. You have the EPA for environmental assessments. You have the EPA. You have the extractive industry. You have a commission for that. You have the LRA. You have the Ministry of Mines and Energy. So we have the sector ministries and agencies, but implementing is the problem. Now, my question is, what reforms can we look at as a country to enhance transparency and accountability in our extractive sector, given that we already have these things? But what reforms can we implement now so that we can move past this particular monster that we have in our country in terms of companies not being able to deliver on what they've signed?
So, you talk about reforms. In my mind, it all boils down to political will of leaders. Because you can have all the institutions put together. You can set up boards. If the political will is not there at the top, it's all going to amount to nothing. Look, there's a concept called state capture. I don't know, I'm sure some of you have heard about state capture and elite capture. It's a form of corruption where powerful institutions, companies, because of their economic might, get to influence public policies and decisions against the interests of the vast majority of the people. What I hear described here, and the Daily Observer wrote about it a couple of weeks ago, I think it was in March, not even weeks ago, months ago, in March, I think it was between March 20 and March 25th, somewhere there, where I spoke about it earlier. HPX or HXP, whichever way it goes, I think HPX, another company, to kind of create some sort of competition that they want, to have access to the real. By the way, let me backtrack. The president of the Republic of Liberia, His Excellency Joseph Nimba Boakai, had signed the multi-user rail contract or policy, signed it into a policy. And the ArcelorMittal, I'm told, from my understanding, is resisting that. So the president, who is the head of the country, say, I signed this. We want a multi-user rail regime that other companies will have access to the rail. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. I hear my granddaughter crying.
Okay.
I'll come back. Somebody pick it up from there.
And then Representative Biak.
Yes, Diamond, in regards to your question, that would just be direct and blunt, right? We're talking about the Ministry of Lands and Mines, EPA, LRA, all of these government agencies that should be double checking the standard, exactly what belongs to us, that we should have our fair share, all of those things. It goes back again. And remember when I said this governance, look, governance is very pivotal in a nation, right? These agencies are there to help us, when I mean us, Liberians, right? To be able to put this check mark in all of these concession stands and all contracts that are in Liberia. However, if these people are not performing, if they are not performing their jobs, if they are not performing their duties, then I said it before, it leads from the executive. You fire them and bring somebody that can do the job. Look, at some point in time, if we're going to lead our people, we need to be firm and be truthful to ourselves first and to our next door neighbor. Jerome says something. ArcelorMittal is becoming very what? Powerful. Imagine a certain representative inviting you and you refusing to come. You know what that tells us? Tells us, Liberian, that ArcelorMittal knows that they can be touched in Liberia. ArcelorMittal knows that they can do whatever they want to do in our nation, in our own house, but nobody's going to touch us. That's the message ArcelorMittal is telling us. That they can bring people, right? The jobs. And one of the things that's like gets to me when I found this stuff, like I was just in Liberia like a few months ago. I was in Liberia April. I told every time I go, I told my county, I told the entire county. I told the entire county I was in Liberia in April. The entire county, I was there. Right? And look, ArcelorMittal is there. Some of the aspect that's that. But because we align those people to come in our house, to control our own house, this is what makes ArcelorMittal have that leverage, the contract that they have violated, but also have the leverage to come and say, well, we're coming for a new contract 2030. Really? And you'll talk about 25 years. First of all, we shouldn't even be discussing that. You don't even give 25-year contract to anybody. No more. How many years contract we give Firestone? That was then. This is now. We don't give 25-year contract anymore. We give it, maybe if that empty, we give it probably 10, but within that 10, like there are matrices, right? There are checkpoints. So quarterly, we check something quarterly, and if you're not up to par, then we start just discussing about everything should be in our MDA. Everything should be in our MDA. Because look, those people, I go back again. There's heavy investors around. Those people are investors. Those people are business people. They're not coming into Liberia because they love Liberia. Let us be real to ourselves and to our leaders. They're not flying all around to come. They're from Europe or Asia, all the places to come because they love Liberia. They're coming to Liberia because what we have in Liberia.
So what then can we do as reforms, Representative?
Down again, it comes from the leadership. Our president, our executive need to be firm.
Okay.
And if those people don't meet their criteria, we can ask those people to leave. Other companies are willing to come. We have natural resources. Our country is rich. People are willing to come in our country. Let us not allow one company to manipulate our entire nation. This is exactly what's going on. Our people are suffering. Our people are dying. And we're allowing one company to kind of manipulate our natural resources system. If I ask the executive, right? If I even ask them, do you know how many natural resources B Mountain is taking out of Liberia daily? How many gold are they taking up daily? I'm not saying weekly, daily. Do we know those? Do we know the fact sheets? ArcelorMittal, you ask them how many iron ore they're taking up. China Union, we ask them. We don't know the fact. Those people, they are refusing to open the books for us. You know why? Because the way we are dealing with them. Until you have a leader that is firm and put Liberia first, then these companies now will become serious and say, if we have to follow the law of the land. This is what it all boils down to. That we can put a policy, we can put a beautiful policies together, Diamond. We can put this policy, we can put the frameworks, we can put everything together. If we don't implement it, for us, Liberia, we don't implement it and be firm, it will not happen. And I'm speaking what I'm saying, Diamond, I'm speaking strictly to the caucus of Grand Bassa County and Bon County and Nimba. Let us come together and form that strong union and be firm for our people. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Ware. Good to have you.
So thank you. Sorry about that interruption. That's the thing about being a grandmother. So, but like I was talking about the issue of state capture, from what I hear being described, that ArcelorMittal was invited, but the legislature, and it didn't show up. That the EPA, the mines and energy sector, the ministry, they wrote a letter along with the transport ministry, wrote a letter to to ArcelorMittal, informing them about this HPX and government combined environmental assessment team. And ArcelorMittal prevented the people from carrying on that assessment, and nothing happened. It sounds to me like a classic example of state capture. And like I was trying to define, state capture is when powerful institutions and powerful companies influence state decisions against the people of that nation, that community, that society for their best interest. And they use their economic power to do that. This type of arrogance is not coming out of the vacuum. It speaks to a larger issue. That tells me that we have problem on hand. And the way to solve it is for President Boakai to change the narrative. He has to have the strength to do that, to stand up to this, because this disrespect is for the entire country, and who bears the biggest brunt of it is the leadership of the country. They are saying you're nothing. You're nothing. Money can buy you. That's what they're saying. You got to stand up and say no, because I've always said image is everything, guys. If anybody comes here and has a negative perception of who you are, that determines how they interact with you. But if they have a positive perception of who you are, that also shifts the narrative. It shifts how they interact with you in a respectful manner. This level of disrespect is because they've sized us up as leaders of Liberia and said these people can be bought with anything. Look, I had a friend of mine telling me, "Just leader me, don't waste your time, because you don't even got leaders. Those people that you're talking about, those lawmakers, trust me, if Meta just come with $3 million, the story will change." Then he say, in fact, why are talking 3 million? 3 million, plenty. You know, 1 million will make them change their story. Just passing 100,000, or 50,000, 25,000 to each of them, that story will change. That reminds me of 2005, 2007 story with the then COO of ArcelorMittal, something Matthews, his name had a Matthews in it. To sign the initial agreement, 103 pickup trucks were distributed among legislators. And that agreement was a shame. Madam Salif had to come for it to be amended in 2007. Even the amended contract was not that good, but imagine the amended one was condemned. Imagine what the first one was. It was a complete giveaway. And before I end, I was doing some little research on the internet about something else, and I came across this letter from a British parliamentarian. He had written that letter. I think I copy and pasted it somewhere here. Give me a minute and I will read it to you. He sent this to the British Parliament. And what he said in that letter, he was challenging their parliament about what was happening in Liberia. And okay, yes, here we go. He says that there is this failure to negotiate in good faith going on in Liberia. So this guy or woman, they just said, you know, a member of parliament, MP. So whether it's a woman or a man, I have no clue. But he expressed concerns with the ongoing discussion about MDA then in 2021. This is what he wrote. He said the government of Liberia and ArcelorMittal reached an agreement to amend the Mineral Development Agreement, MDA, paving a way for a considerable expansion of the company's operations in the country and extending the iron ore mining concession for 25 years. He said this is being shrouded in secrecy. Also, for the Liberian lawmakers who will now have to approve it, the amended agreement generated is like the previous MDAs, with lots of controversies over the benefits for the Liberian economy and the involvement of local populations. He says the possibility of corruption and the potential creation of a rail monopoly is high. Then he asked 3 questions of the General Parliament. He said, is the Vice President of the Commission the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, VPHR, are they aware of these controversies and have these issues been raised with the Liberian authorities? He's challenging the British Parliament. 2, he said, is the new MDA compatible with the EU's objectives of promoting good governance and sustainable development in Liberia? And 3rd, he says, in the context of reports of enthusiastic endorsement, can the VP/HR clarify the EU's position regarding foreign investments like this in Liberia? Unquote. I come back to you guys. If somebody sitting way in Great Britain can flag the red, can put forth this argument and see the red flag in the negotiation at the time. And by the way, it didn't happen. That was 2021. So that expansion and new agreement didn't happen. But that was the concern raised in the British Parliament. So we as Liberians who are being impacted, whose lives will be impacted for centuries to come, because guys, mineral resources take millions to develop. Iron ore is not an overnight thing. Even if it takes another 100 years to mine it, the impact of bad practices that will be left behind are indelible. They cannot be erased overnight. These people are using chemicals in the mining process. They're using heavy metals. They're using mercuries that found their way into our waters. And you know the damage mercury does to human development, especially the development and growth of the brain. Research it. It is harmful for human beings, but they are doing it carelessly without any check and balance. Our water is polluted. Our marine life is destroyed. Our environment, our ecosystem should not be a collateral damage for people's profit. And this is what company like ArcelorMittal is doing to Liberia. And because of this state capture, where they believe they have the economic power and nothing can happen. So that level of arrogance is what you see by them being invited by the legislature and they turn it down. By them refusing a team sanctioned by the government of Liberia to do the ESIA, that's the Environmental and Social Impact Assessment. That's what's happening. We as ordinary citizens, as stakeholders, must continue to speak to our government to do what is right by us, the citizens of Liberia. And I say Liberia because what affects Nimba affects Grand Jide, it affects Bapolu, it affects Nimba, it affects Sano, everywhere. We are one whole. So when a subset is impacted, all of us, some way, somehow, are impacted. And when it comes to image, when you go to Ghana, they will not say, oh no, they want the bad deal is from Bapolu, so it's not from him, that Nimba people. No, the Liberian people who don't have heads on their shoulders, that's how they will see us collectively. So we must act collectively to protect our country, protect our citizens, and protect our national image.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. We're about winding down. Mr. Jeru, anything you'd like to add before we go back to Darasto and subsequently to Representative Bia, and then we'll start taking closing comments.
Absolutely, and I think she raised an issue. She may not have gone into detail that had to do with government capture, and I was trying to go into that, but I did not use that particular one. Thank God she used the particular one. I put it in the. I took it from the government, the U.S. government, nonpartisan government accountability office, and they describe what it means when they say state capture, and maybe we need to give a better look of it, and so maybe talk about it, what she really meant. That government state capture is a form of systemic corruption, and in this corruption process, in this system, a private interest will unduly influence the institutions or the processes that the state or the government set in place for their own benefit. Also, it overshadows public good. Those people, they are actually overshadow public good. And this involves powerful individuals or powerful groups. Sometimes these people are referred to as the captors, who manipulate state laws. They manipulate state regulations, and they manipulate state policies for their own interests. That is what she was trying to describe to us. When you look at what is going on at ArcelorMittal, Dano, for the legislature, for the Senate, for them to send for a company. Well, I don't want to say mere company, but actually when it comes to the powers, the legislative power, they are mere company officials. For them to refuse, not once, not twice, but thrice, to come to the core of the lawmaker, to ask a question, to find out what is happening. It didn't stop anywhere but just right to this state capture she's talking about. People in government, they are using the process, they are manipulating the law, they are begging for food, they are telling ArcelorMittal, they don't mind these people, they just want money, don't listen to them. They see ArcelorMittal as a monster institution that is unquestionable. At this point in time, ArcelorMittal should be trembling when the lawmakers invite them. I wonder what happened. I just talked about the MDA. We journalists in Liberia have the MDA of ArcelorMittal. We need to know. That's the only way we know. Look at the kind of letter the British parliamentarian is writing. This is a letter that will come from us as journalists. We're supposed to go into the ArcelorMittal MDA, renew MDA, and compare the old one and new one. But what a change here. So this is not happening over these years. Now they are going to give additional 25 years, and the same conditions, nothing changed. We highlighted to the public. But ArcelorMittal MDA, nobody will give it to you. Nobody. You got to fight for it before you can get it. And so it is for me, it's a shame. Look, when the New York Times wrote a story, some of you will one day when you do your research, New York Times wrote a story on November 3rd, 2026. You know how they consider ArcelorMittal in Liberia?
2026.
206, sorry. 2006, 2026, that kind. You see, she will not forget to hold you accountable. Listen, the New York Times described ArcelorMittal's activity in Liberia as a poison pills. That's how they describe ArcelorMittal. I will put that link in the chat room so that people who can access to that, they will read it. An international news institution in America describing Mittal Steel or ArcelorMittal activities as a poison pill in Liberia. Now, that poison pill in 2006 was what we were writing about at the time. When Madam Salib reordered the renegotiation of that MDA, they removed some of those things. But here's one thing someone is telling me that is still not removed. ArcelorMittal does not have a checkpoint. In the old MDA, it says when ArcelorMittal is operating and they discover any other mineral, they are not under any responsibility to report it to the government. So how much of a gold that ArcelorMittal is discovering in the operational area?
Diamonds.
How much of diamonds they are discovering? How much of other minerals they are discovering that they not have to report to the government? It's in the MDA. It's in the MDA. Can the lawmakers from Nimba County, can they help us and steal one of the MDA and just sneak it to the journalists and give it to us, and let's go in and see what is in there? Or can they scrutinize that MDA? So there's so much.
I have it. I will send it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Again, we have, oh, great. Again, we have to look at what Madam West said very seriously. This state capture thing, I think that one shot me also. Because everybody finger inside that ArcelorMittal Tina, everybody chopping, spraying lay money around. And so everybody now, they protecting the institution. Because ArcelorMittal now is the biggest taxpayer. I think they have 7,000 employees, right? Somebody told me, I think it's 7,000 employee plus. They are the biggest economic support base for the government. If we do anything to them now, then what will happen to us? If you start thinking about yourself like that, the company already know they will size you up, like she said, and they have already sized us up. So we need more. We need more to be done by our government officials. They need to be tough. They need to be resistant. They need to be resilient. They need to be consistent and forget about the pecuniary gains that they will get. And I hope the lawmakers of Nimba County will step their foot down, to put their foot down. I will say, I'll put my foot down. Then they put their foot down. That's the only way we'll get the team moving. So
just a quick question as we're wrapping up. An audit of ArcelorMittal's activities in Liberia. Do you support that in terms of auditing what they've done? You just mentioned the fact that if that is indeed in the MDA, that the company is not obliged to report whatever it is, aside from iron ore that they dig up from under the ground, and they can fly out of the country with it. I was in Nimba quite recently, and a black helicopter was flying, and somebody said, when you see the black one, that means they're going to fire somebody. And these helicopters, they fly in our airspace where they take whatever they get, these mining concessions, whether B Mountain, whether ArcelorMittal, whether China Union, whatever it is. Even though we have limited manufacturing firms, but the ones that are doing a bit of manufacturing and all that, they do things and they go with impunity, and we keep crying in our country that we're suffering. Mr. Jerry, Madam Ware, an audit of ArcelorMittal's activities in Liberia since the commence and up to now, before we go into looking at what we can sign with them again. Do you support that?
Let me start, and then Madam Ware can come after me. Listen, the OMDA that I had those days in 2006, 2007, ArcelorMittal cannot be audited by the Liberian government. In fact, let me make it more clearer. The government of Liberia cannot sue ArcelorMittal in Liberian courts. They can't. ArcelorMittal has an arbitration firm in Great Britain. If the government of Liberia has a problem with ArcelorMittal, they don't sue like ArcelorMittal in Liberia. They go to Great Britain to the arbitration. That's how bad it is. ArcelorMittal is not answerable in any Liberian court. When we talk about auditing, if you found them guilty of any corrupt practice, what do? You will sue them, right? No, you can't sue ArcelorMittal in Liberia. The government of the courts of Liberia have no jurisdiction over ArcelorMittal unless they have been changed. But the one that was changed in 2007 still had that provision because they say it's a safety net for the company. So I agree. I might say right now, out of any empathy for what is going on, I say they should audit ArcelorMittal, but they can't. The government of Liberia does not have the power to audit ArcelorMittal. All the government has to do is to make sure that its contribution, the contribution of ArcelorMittal to government taxes. In fact, I don't even know whether ArcelorMittal already across their tax, their tax or to do not tax free but tax break years. They had 30 years of tax breaks. I don't know whether we're not past that 30 years. From 2007 to now, I'm not sure if it's 30 years. If it's 30 years, you'll help me. ArcelorMittal has tax break, and that tax break is in the form of giving little bit to the government until they can put their feet on the ground. I want to see whether that particular part is removed, because ArcelorMittal is making more money now than they were supposed to be making before the tax break is removed. The tax break is removed. So if we look at the mineral development agreement, we will find out whether the tax break is still there. Whether ArcelorMittal is still under responsibility to anything they go and they excavate and they see any mineral, they can take it. They don't have to report it because it's in the development, the mineral concession area. Is it still there? There will be no audit for ArcelorMittal, even though the government may have the authority to do so. But if you audit the person and the person is found to be corrupt, the person is found to be committing crime, now you can't sue them in your court. You got to go to arbitration. It is still in the MDNA, unless the poll take it from the NBA, or let the poll take it from there. So you got to go to Great Britain and carry ArcelorMittal to the arbitration. Is there still the possibility? So yes, I agree with you. They should be audited. But how far can they go?
Mr. Jiru, quickly to get some better understanding. Is it the arbitration is about disagreements or any kind of issues with the MDA that goes to the United Kingdom to their arbitration firm once it's got to do with the makeup of the MDA, or is about any other offense whatsoever that the government of Liberia will have with this company that they will have to go to Great Britain? And it makes it seem like they are above the law if the latter
they are above the law. Is it just about I'm sorry, Madam Ware. ArcelorMittal is above the law. Let me just sit down for anybody who knows about ArcelorMittal.
Or it's about any other matters that may arise that they cannot be taken to courts in Liberia?
Let me say what it says. I will not quote exactly because I don't have the MDA these days. And I will just represent that
you have the MDA and going through.
It says in the MDA that any legal issue arising between the government of Liberia and that time it was called Mittal Steel, ArcelorMittal, that a disagreement can only be settled at the arbitration. That's what it says. If it can only be settled at the arbitration, then what happened to the Liberian court? You can't sue ArcelorMittal in Liberia. Ask anybody who got an agreement unless they change overnight. You can't sue ArcelorMittal in Liberia.
Madam Ware, you have the agreement because I was looking at it as and I need
clarity. When she sent it to me, I would look through it. I know where it is.
I just forwarded that to you. The soft copy. I'm trying to see if I can open. Somebody sent this to me because I had asked for it. Yes, I just forwarded it to you. Approved September 23rd, 2005. I just forwarded it to you. So you should have it.
Okay, so
are you hearing me? It's about 106 pages.
Yeah, Madam, where we can hear
but you. But that's the 2005, and then I also have the amended one for 2007. But so let me say this. I was just reading in the comment section here. That's one of the problems we have in Liberia. This discussion we are having in my mind is void of politics. I don't want anything out of this. This is not election year. I'm not running for anything. This is something I've been saying forever and ever. I remember even when President Weah's government was in power, I remember making a passionate live Facebook post in 2019. If everybody remember, it was from that, my live feed, that the Senator Sir Joseph and all these people took that trip to Nimba, because it was a very strong cry for the people of Nimba and what ArcelorMittal was doing. I'm saying this to say that my advocacy for situations in Liberia and the Liberian people is void of politics. Sometimes my friends tell me I don't act like politician because I can care less about politics. I care more about what happens to our people. And as I stated during part of my deliberation, that as far back as 2019, I was going to representatives and senators and decrying what was happening in Rivers and in Grand Judea. I'm not from there. I had no political dividend to reap from advocating and talking about it, but it is about Liberia. So I look at these issues through a nationalistic lens. I have nothing to gain. All I have to gain is that as a member of this corporation called Liberia and a major stakeholder, when our image is good, internally and externally, I benefit. When our people are living well, I benefit. So to those of you who are listening, those who are making all these comments, I just want us to take off the political hat for once and become a little bit nationalistic. Let's think in terms of Liberia being at war with itself. Because if we continue to fight each other over these little nuances, at the end of the day, it is the country, our children that will bear the brunt of it. I just wanted to make that, appeal to people, all these political attackers who are now in the comment feed and making all kinds of comments. Oh, the CDC were there, the blah, blah, blah. I know it is expected with the territory. I'm not crying. I'm just saying that I'm admonishing us to look at it from the perspective of nationalism and patriotism. I got nothing to gain as an individual politically, whether ArcelorMittal stays or go, but I have everything to lose as an individual, as a member of this country called Liberia and the country called Nimba. Having said that, you talk about this situation with auditing and all that. Gibson just said it. You have to go with what is within the agreement. What are the limits placed on the government and the company, what we can do and what we cannot do as a government, as a people. I haven't read that portion, but I'm sure I heard something like that years ago, that ArcelorMittal cannot be sued in any court in Liberia. But again, for me, whether audit, no audit, if we didn't have an agreement that has not been respected, complied with, we can say, okay, don't audit and see. But the thing is so vivid. Just take a trip to Yekepa. You don't even need to read the agreement. You will know that ArcelorMittal has not done much. Have they done some things? Yes. But have they fully, complied with the agreement? Certainly they've not. Our call tonight and always, from as far back as during the days when I was superintendent, for the record, when I was superintendent, I was the first superintendent that made ArcelorMittal to do something that was not even within the MDA, to award vacation job to Nimba students. I was the superintendent that held ArcelorMittal to account, wrote a letter to ArcelorMittal that I wanted to know how many Liberians they had within their employee in the senior management position. That was beyond my duty as superintendent, but I took the risk and did that. Because as a superintendent, I was hearing all of the cries and the calls. And the COO was very disrespectful. I elevated that to the Minister of Internal Affairs and to the President of the Republic of Liberia. Based on that, they sent some shabby thing that they said it was their, employee listing. because I have said for confidentiality, I don't need their names. Just protect them. I just want to know, like you say, such and such position. This person is from Liberia. This one is from Ghana. This one, I just needed to know. And they sent something that I knew was really not honest, but it was towards the end of my leadership in Nimba, because this was in 2011. I had already started sensing that I didn't have long to stay in that position. So I just want to make clear that my advocacy did not start today, and it will not end today. It's part of me. It's second nature to me. When something is bad, I will speak about it, especially when it's bad for my people and for the citizens of Liberia. In this country, there was a friend here who used to call me the ambassador because I spoke for every Liberian on immigration issue. I didn't have to know you. It's just part of my nature. I just want to clear the air that there is no political dividend in this advocacy for me. If anything, there are people who have called me and say, "Lord, don't waste your time. You yourself get you no money from ArcelorMittal and shut your mouth." But how long does that money last? I don't care about money. I care about what happens to us as a country and as a people. Thank you so much for having me on the show today.
Thank you, Madam.
Madam, where I saw the email, but there's an access issue with Google Drive. So if you're able to download in PDF, if they give you the access code, you download it.
Yeah, I actually downloaded it, so I will.
Okay, so just send me the PDF. Then I will look at it. In 2025, if you send it to me now, I will point out now where it says ArcelorMittal can raise down any village in Nimba County if they found that in their mineral development area, if there's a mineral that they are seeking, they can raise down a village without additional payment in the 2025. Because I know exactly where it is.
I got it
right now.
Right here. I even have it downloaded on my phone. How come you can't download it?
Yeah, before you come in, we're already we're wrapping up now. We're winding down.
So for another day, Gibson, I will try to send it to you after the show.
I just want to make this announcement. On Wednesday, the 9th of July, is going to be a big show down here on the Spoon Talk, as Isaac Doe is going to face off one-on-one with Mountain Collie. So make a date. We'll create a very nice poster, more like the WWE and the WBO, heavyweight challenge. We will have Isaac Doe going against Mountain Collie. All of the debate on Facebook, the back and forth, the intellectual missiles and all of that, they will come to the same platform and they will have their debate. So it's going to be a big show. If we that have pay-per-view, I'll definitely tell you that is going to be pay-per-view. But we don't have pay-per-view.
Can we have buttresses?
And then they will demarcate.
Can we have buttresses?
They will demarcate Lofa and Nimba. They will demarcate Lofa and Nimba.
If you have buttresses, you're putting there for buttress. I said no.
There's no buttressing. There's one-on-one. There's a face-off. Gibson Jerry. You can beef up.
Well, I will be a spectator. We're
Diamond, which is
watch
good.
the show.
I think, yeah, we're going to be looking forward to.
So I just want to conclude that.
Let me just
I can just wrap up on that.
Yeah. Representative Bia, you were in flight. You were saying something.
Yeah. So I just wanted to because we have exhausted this topic already about where ArcelorMittal. And for me, not only ArcelorMittal, but all of the contracts that are in our country. My overall focus is our country, Liberia, and Liberia first. That's my crusade, right? Liberia first agenda. All of the concessions, starting from Bee Mountain, China Union, ArcelorMittal, the Firestone, and everything. They have exploited our nation. They exploited our people. So it's about time that our leaders stand firm and make decisions in good faith for our country and for the people. Because, I mean, as you look at these things, I love to put things into perspective and people see, get a bigger picture. You look at our nation's budget. 880 million plus, right? And if you look at the nation budget, 880 million plus, see exactly what I prioritize within the nation budget. Look at education, look at healthcare, infrastructure, every other thing else. So this where when you look at budget, this what a prioritization that tells you exactly what the government put first, right? So that's one thing set aside. All of these contracts that we have in our country, if we go through the royalty ranks, if we go through, like, if we say, if we start to tell them, say, this is exactly this is what we need at this time before you sign this contract, or when you sign this contract, this is what we would need. Our budget, I even went back to, I think it was December when this whole impact was going on. There was some of the taxes stuff that was included within the budget of PACs, right? There was some taxes that was included. However, if you fast forward, you look at all of these contracts in Liberia. Just those companies that are in Liberia, we can run a country budget for at least over $1 billion. And we can increase education, increase healthcare, and people get paid monthly and on time, increase people's salary. I know all of this stuff have been in the works, and some of them is in the work right now. But my question is, how effective it is? Is it impacting the bread and butter issue of the people in Liberia? It's just a simple question, right? Look, if you don't put your country first and your people first, every other thing else, it just shows, right? Every other thing it just shows. You got B Mountain, China, all of those people, governance, leadership, we need to be firm. Our leader need to be firm and upright with these people.
Thank you, Representative.
With these business partnerships are coming up. Again, so this administration, let us be firm and continue to serve the people of Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you. Darius, your parting comments, we're wrapping up. Again, I'll make the announcement. On Wednesday, the 9th of July, it is a big show down here on the Spoon Talk. It's Isaac Doe going against in a square off with Monty Colliers, an intellectual square off, and thankfully they will be in different parts of the world, so it wouldn't get physical, but you can be rest assured with the former CEO Stanton Alexander Witherspoon serving as moderator of that particular face-off, you can be rest assured of all of the drama and everything there. So we've said to them, enough of the debate on Facebook. You stop fighting proxy battles. Come face to face on Liberia's biggest platform and square it off. So on Wednesday, both men have agreed that they will be coming on Wednesday night here on the Spoon Talk, the 9th of July. Make it a date. Come and watch that intellectual debate, and at the end of the day, you can take your takeaway as well. Darius, just your parting comment. I know you can't wait for Wednesday. Everybody taking side cases. Jerry said he wants to go and buttress Isaac. Do people funny that this is no tag team match. It's one-on-one.
I'll join the moderator. But on a serious note, on a serious note, Diamond, it is so unfortunate that we are discussing this as a country. Imagine a mineral development agreement, a contract. There is no clause that states or that demands for a review of the contract. Who does that? At least say after the first 5 years or 7 years, the agreement will be reviewed. The revision is intended to look at the company's operation, those things that they promise, whether or not they have fulfilled that. 25 years straight an agreement, no room for revision. That is bogus. It is bogus, and it is detrimental to the affected community, the employees, and the country. Why our leaders will go sign an agreement without a clause to review it. Even if there is a clause to review it, how many concessions that have gone for revision? All right. I give you an example. Golden Ferrarium in Sino and Grenku, 2010. They are gone 15 years. The agreement say in the first 5 years, the concession will be reviewed. It is 15 years. That agreement has not been reviewed. And it applies to so many concessions. How will you checkmate? How will you bring the companies, the investors to book in terms of living up to their concession, agreements? So it is so unfortunate. Look at ArcelorMittal. You got over 3,000 Indians when they came to provide jobs for Liberians. It was reported on the floor of the Senate by the CSA director. 3,000 plus Indians are employed. What are the jobs they are doing? They are doing the jobs that Liberians should be doing. Our leaders are saying that. People are speaking. But then again, we have the president who said ArcelorMittal is doing well. So we know that with all of the things that come out, all of the issues that have been raised, ArcelorMittal agreement will be renewed.
Thank
you.
You
Just saw HPS D just been signed. It's not in the public. We don't know what is in the agreement as well. So this is Liberia, this country we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jeru, your parting comments before we call it a night here.
Yeah, first of all, let me be clear. We as Liberians should be happy when we are having concessionaires coming to Liberia to do business. What it does for us as a people, it provides revenue for the bread basket for our country. It provides job for our people in the locales. And it provides a way of our country advancing. We are happy when things like that are happening now. We want companies to come. We want more companies to come. But if the companies are coming and they are flouting the laws, they are flouting the rules, the policies of government, then we are concerned. I just saw something that ArcelorMittal was doing right now. They said they are, how they call it, they are gathering apprentices to train them in, I think in Nimba or so, and I think they are trying to get about 60 of them. Now, the 60 of them, they said they are getting at least 31 people from other countries, other counties, and they are getting 29 from the 3 counties that they are operating. If you ask me, I will tell you that's nonsense. The only way we can develop the capacity of our people is to get more people from the locality that the companies are operating. I will do it in reverse. I will take 31 people from the 3 counties they are operating instead of getting a lesser number from the 3 counties they are operating. It is good for other Liberians to work, yes. But if you're operating in a locale, you should be able to make sure that these people are financially capable and they are supported, unless they cannot do the job that you are asking them to do. But in this case, it's a training. You should have the 3 counties, Bon, Nimba, and Basso. Nimba, maybe take about 15 people, maybe Bon, 20 people, maybe Basso, 5 people, and the rest of the people from the other counties, because of the kind of job you do in those counties. That makes sense to me. But you take more people from outside of the 3 counties, and somebody will argue and say, no, gives you the other people deserve to work. Well, my advocacy is you take care of the locales first, and then you go out to the other counties. I think this way we empower the local community. The last thing I'm going to say is we are not against ArcelorMittal. If we are against ArcelorMittal, we'll be asking the government to cancel the MDA, which we don't even have the power to do, because you can't just cancel ArcelorMittal agreement like that. The contract provides that the government has to give, I think, 90 days or something like that, a notice of disengagement. and that disengagement, ArcelorMittal can raise the issue with the government, and if they have problem, they can go to the arbitration. And if the government is at fault, all expenses of ArcelorMittal will be reimbursed by the government of Liberia. So you not just go to more money and say, let's cancel MDA. You can renegotiate it, but you can't just go tomorrow and get canceled. So we don't want to cancel. We want to live, but we want to go by the laws. We want to provide services. We want to go by the policies that are set forth. We want it to do the right thing. And so all of what we are saying, once you send that to me, Damo, you know, because I will make sure I pinpoint those areas that in the MDA of ArcelorMittal that I still do have problem with, so that people will know. Because if we don't point those things, I will not know, my brother. But thank God that we are discussing it. And ArcelorMittal is a big company, and tomorrow morning you go to them for advertisement. They will say, my man, Spoon, you're talking to me. They're not giving you advertisement. That's what they do. So thank you very much. I appreciate the time here with Madam Ware and time for all the with you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jerry. So I also agree with you that the government of Liberia cannot just wake up and decide that we no longer want ArcelorMittal in our country based on the fact that they too are a large employer. They contribute directly and indirectly, but that also doesn't mean that we cannot look at what is bad for our people and weed it out or weed them out of whatever agreement that is. Someone was talking to me off air, chatting with me on WhatsApp off air, and the person said as of the time the government of Liberia needed to show that Liberia is open for investment from multinational companies, and the country was broke and the government didn't have a strong point to negotiate. They needed to have multinationals coming to the country. So agreements were just signed there and about. I said, wow, if that was the reason, why wasn't there a review, a periodic review? The person said it's for 5 to 10 years. It could have been reviewed. But at the end of the day, if we are discussing this as a country, 20 years, 7 months, according to Madam Gongluwe, and we still have got contentious issues, and we still have got things that haven't been done that were promised, then it also shows that we as a country, we are not serious about our people well-being and about the future of our country. That people will be excavating holes as deep as down the ocean bed, and environmental impact is happening. The communities, you don't see the schools that were promised, the scholarship numbers, the equity that we should have gotten in terms of shares and all these things. And 20 years down the line, we are still confronting these issues. Then it shows that we haven't been serious about making sure our country gets what is best for us in terms of our resources. And it's not just ArcelorMittal, but other concessionaires in our country that we give them an open field and say, go and have your say. Do whatever you want to do. Once you connected with the right person in our country, things can work out for you. And shabby people run to these kind of places. People with checkered records, Mr. Gibson Jerry, they run to places like Liberia where it is easily manipulated. They can have their way. The reputable companies want to operate in spaces that they can contribute and respect the laws. But you'll find in a country where state capture is there, individual capture is there, individual interest, people who do not want to be accountable and want to make 100 when they spend $20, they run to places such as Liberia. And enough is enough. If we value our country's future, look at the United Arab Emirates. What do they have apart from oil? Sand. Apart from oil, sand. You asked me about my trip to China, or Representative Bia asked me that question. And I asked the Chinese, I said, look, 1959, 1960, thereabout, China was struggling for food to eat. But today, food is in abundance. When you're on the fast train, all you see are plantations, massive plantations. And the person said we were intentional. We sat, we looked at our country's problem, and we said we will solve it, and we were intentional about solving our problems. There is Rwanda that we point to. They had an issue. But look at the trajectory they're on. Irrespective of how you take Paul Kagame to be, his people are getting what they want in terms of laws, in terms of amenities, in terms of development. And then you come back to Liberia. How intentional are we? If we are intentional about good governance, about making sure our people get their just benefit, about increasing our people's livelihoods, about decreasing unemployment. Look at that sad video from the Ministry of Labor. When Liberians were in long queues going to get form to be placed on jobs, vacation jobs or temporary jobs. That is the next problem in our country if it's not settled. The issue of unemployment, economic inequality. You're one in an area, you get work. So everybody look up to you, and not everybody looking up to you with good faith. The day something happens, they run to you to harm you.
And Damo, just to add to you a little bit, that's the mockery part of it. You issue over 10,000 work permits to foreigners, provide 1,000 vacation job for Liberian, and pay them $150 or $100. It's a mockery.
That's the intentional part we're talking about. We have to be intentional. And as we go towards reviewing ArcelorMittal's MDA, we should start looking at value addition as well as a country. How can we add value? How can we as a country start moving into industrialization? What can we do? Should the government start looking at establishing an SOE as well that can go into mining? Since without getting it from the private sector, should we be looking in that direction? ArcelorMittal's iron ore that they're taking from Liberia, what's the quota that should be to local economy, the local industry? Since we do not have, where is that quota going to? And a whole lot, by the end of the day, for my take, being intentional and wanting to see our country do good should be the hallmark of every Liberian leader. Because tomorrow, when you're no longer around, our future generations will be the ones to suffer. And somebody jokingly said Liberia is behind the countries that are behind. And if we choose to stay in that position, we have nowhere to go. So that's our end on this program. Mr. Jeru, thank you. Darius, thank you. I love to say thank you to Mr. Stanton Alexander Witherspoon as well for giving me my debut day to host on the program. It's a transition that we will ease into eventually. I would love to say thank you for the opportunity as well. But remember, on Wednesday, the 9th of July, 2025, ladies and gentlemen, it will be a showdown here on the Spoon Network. Wearing blue, representing the CDC, the opposition.
Weighs 250 pounds.
Weighing 250 pounds, standing at 5 feet 7 inches tall. Isaac Doe.
From where Maryland County.
Yes. Wearing green, standing at 5 feet 8 inches. Wearing
with 10 wins and zero defeat.
Yes. They can be calling that record.
Yeah.
5
the rescue rumble.
But you're trying to look for buttresses, man. You're looking for buttresses.
No, we will demarcate Lofa and Nimba that day.
Why are you so interested in
buttresses? I know the demarcation.
Oh, okay. We are coming on right after the debate. So okay, no problem.
Mr. Chiru, why are you just pressing on buttressing Isaac Doe? Why?
Oh, openly, let me stay here. I admire Martin Colley for some of the things he does, but he's an innate liar. I know him to be a liar from school days until now. But this time, sometimes he writes some things that are true, but most of the time he concocts stories. And I would have really loved to debate him because I have called on him many times and disclosed some of his lies. on social media. He and I went at it for almost 6 months.
So that's why you want buttress Isaac?
That's why I want to buttress Isaac, because I want to point
create room
out
for that. We'll create room for buttress.
Use me to buttress. Is that what you're saying?
But you gotta start taking push-ups. You gotta start warming
but
up.
Martin and my little brother. I said my little brother. So let two of them go ahead. I will be on the peripheral and listen. But actually, I think
that day that we'll use AI, we'll use Google, we'll use all the search engine. It will not be a small debate.
But as a do we can play both bagging. They say when you see the man coming to the fight with a whole support system behind him.
You should know what's up.
But you see the other man coming to the fight, only one. Yeah, you might know that man trusts the ability. So far, Gibson and Darius voluntarily.
I'll be in the background. I'll be in the background.
I'm part of the moderator. I'm part of the moderator. I'll be co-moderator to stand on.
No, to be honest, I'm hands off. Hands off. I'm hands off. I just want to.
No, but I said though with intellectually murder Martin, and we're seeing that already.
It's not going to be a walkover. It's not going to be a walkover because over the years, Martin has been able to have access to people, documents, and situations. So he will be able to put up a very good fight. Or if he doesn't wander too much in his exposés. Because I think it's a methodological person. If you're talking about diamond, I say want diamond to be concluded before we go to Darius. If I say hold Martin in that corner, it will be difficult for Martin because Martin will want to go from X, Y, and Z.
At the pre-debate analysis here now.
Yeah.
A pre-debate analysis.
When John Cena is meeting Raymond Ray, you got to cross-examine all of them. Yeah.
You are giving techniques.
Because what's going to happen? I can just say that I know what's going to happen with Martin Colley. Martin Colley will dwell on George Weah government. And he will bring out issues during the George Weah government in a way of tying Isaac to it. But what Isaac is going to argue is, fine, that's why the people voted George Weah out. Now let's look at what is here. And that's where Martin will be difficult for him to go because this is his own making. He made this government. He advocated for this government. So he takes the dirt of this government. So Isaac will say, well, you were one of those. You advocated the government to come to power. But this is what they are doing. You're talking about George Weah? Forget about George Weah. That's why we're removing. But here is what is happening. And that's where it's going to be difficult because Martin still want that camaraderie with the government. He still want to seek that attention from Joseph Boakai. He still want to be recognized as the guy and then get something a little nice.
And Damon, mind you, Aze is kind of he loved the kind of a salt and chicken soup analysis. Just simple. He doesn't. So if Martin is not careful, he will break Martin down. He loved the kind of a salt and chicken soup, clarity in his debate. So
so
see what happens.
I'm already getting those messages.
Look at the comment section.
Look at the comment section.
How would I even debate?
Yeah. So Mr. Jeru, Isaac,
yeah,
Monty, which side do you stand? Who would you be taking as the victor of Wednesday?
I still beat him. Yes, I still beat him. I still will beat him if everybody open their mind and listen to the debate and look at the substance of the debate. I still beat him. And Martin is going to go back to George Weah. He's going to go back to George Weah, and that's where his defeat will come from. Because if I said Dama was not good, we'll put Darius. Now I go back to criticize Dama. Then why am I leaving Darius? So
somebody can equally argue, Mr. Jeru, that there's no way you can discuss the detrimental state of our country and not involve Mr. Weah if you blame him
you can do that
for where we are now. So is it now not a point for Monty to go back and say, if you had done this properly, we wouldn't be struggling to make the gains that we're making now at a slower pace than what it should have been? That made the foundation. Can he also use that as a reference?
Somebody can use that as somebody can use that as an argument. But then we'll go to Ellen, then we'll go to Taylor, then we go back to 1847.
You use the most recent example in your analysis. Don't go to 1847, Darius.
Okay, so let me give
Mr. Weah could not solve all the problems in Liberia in 6 years.
Let me give a clear example. What will happen?
Doing a debate.
Take HPX for example. Martin will say when George Weah came, they were in bed with HPX. HPX were not doing it. And then Martin will say, don't forget, HPX was brought here by Ellen.
You mean ArcelorMittal or HPX?
HPX is like that. HPX started from Ellen time.
Okay.
And Ellen then it's even Metex where it started from Ellen time, not George Weah time. So he said you're in bed with Metex. He said, but Metex started from Ellen. So can you criticize Ellen for not doing the right thing? So ArcelorMittal not start with Ellen. ArcelorMittal started with Judy Bryant. The first agreement was agreed in Judy Bryant administration. Then before it came 2005 when Ellen took over, then we started making noise for Ellen to renegotiate. So no, that would not be a valid argument. What could be a valid argument for Martin Colley is something that George Weah solely began and messed up. It can be a very great argument. So
can Martin defeat Isaac on the boundary? That's something to look at. Maybe we'll
already that boundary nothing is that
now they will talk about the roles. They will talk about roles. I say has statistics about roles. I say has statistics about roles then, and he has statistics about roles now. Martin Brown will have statistics also. I mean, one thing we should not take it from Martin is he has been doing very well lately about digging deeper into information that need to be, but he has also been telling things about people that are not true. For instance, about Ability, why he said Ability was completely false. And Ability was so mad about it. There are some other things he has said that are not true. So Martin is not a pushover. Let me just say that. He's not a pushover. But Isaac is not a warmer. Isaac will not warm anybody.
All right, Mr. Jerry, thank you for
the
analysis.
I'm sure my brother.
Both of the guys who will be debating, the contenders, will be looking at their strategies, their points, and all of that. Time is not going to be the luxury. You have to make your point in the shortest possible time so that we have a very, very fast flowing debate and not a slow paced one.
I read it today. See a ball coming from already. I'm going to take my point.
All right, folks, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you very much.
The Spoon Talk comes away on tomorrow and Wednesday. That's the 9th of July will be the debate between Martin Colley and that of former Youth and Sports Minister Isaac Doe. It will be live here on the Spoon Network, and all our other affiliates will be carrying that debate live as well. We'll be moderated by Mr. Stanton Alexander Witherspoon Sr., and the rest of the panelists will join on for post-debate analysis. My name is Diamond Slanger. Thank you so much for being here to listen to my debut on moderating the Spoon Talk, and subsequently we'll ease into the role as well. Have yourselves a wonderful night. Goodbye from the entire production team and myself. So have yourself a wonderful night until we talk again. Bye-bye.
Spoon gonna tell you what is happening.